Questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Could there be... excuse me.
What a way to start the day.
Yeah, me, yes. Good morning. Could there be travel chaos on the horizon?
Millions of airline passengers could have their flights disrupted after the equipment of Airbus A320s are found to be susceptible to intense solar radiation. We'll have more on that. What happened? It's a breaking story still at the moment.
Also today, the Chancellor is on the brink. She's accused of misleading the public ahead of the budget.
Yes, because it's been revealed that Rachel Reeves may have lied about £30 billion black hole to pave the way for a tax raid that she intended for us anyway.
President Trump could hand over Ukraine's occupied territories, including Crimea, to Russia as he draws close to securing a deal with Vladimir Putin to end the war.
And then, of course, shop till you drop. Ooh, yes. Black Friday spending in the UK is set to reach £6.4 billion this year on the nation's second busiest shopping day of the year, and that's today.
Simon Cowell admits to washing his blood to age backwards. So we're going to debate, A, what is that? And B, is it so wrong to get old?
A very good morning. A week to save his job. That's the damning verdict on the future of beleaguered Liverpool boss Arne Slot by Reds legend Jamie Carragher. And could there be hope for England in the Ashes? Australia captain Pat Cummins is ruled out for the second test in Brisbane.
Good morning. It's a wet day to come for many southern central areas. We do have a warning in force, much drier further north, but you can find out all the details with me a little later on.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
So the tree's gone up, Anne?
Yes, I'm very glad to hear it, but it's a bit early, isn't it? Because our trees aren't going up in the studio until Monday, because that's the 1st of December.
Yes.
So you're a bit premature.
Well, a little bit, but we always buy the place that opens every year to sell the trees. We always go on the first day it opens.
I see,
and
because you're that keen.
So it's normally the Saturday, but this year it opened 2 days earlier. Don't know why.
No, well, I mean, I'm all for decorations. I keep them up longer than they should be. I've got a pre-lit one arriving today. It's
So a fake
I know.
one.
Well, it's because I probably am going to be abroad for Christmas.
Right.
So I thought, but I can't. It seems wrong to think. Because my son's saying, well, why put up the Christmas decks if you're not going to be there? But it seems wrong not to have them, you know.
Yeah.
So I've ordered a pre-lit tree.
Do you know anyone around your area who maybe keeps them up like all year round? You know,
I'd love to, because I love fairy lights and stuff like that. You could take down the very Christmassy things and just keep up.
We've got someone near me who just goes massively overboard on the whole house. It looks great, and they charge people a charity donation to come and look.
Yeah.
I
And
have to get a picture of it.
People pay to come and look.
Yes,
as well,
they do.
don't they? They like.
I mean, I don't know why. You can see it perfectly well from the road, but
Yeah.
Not really.
I've got a new earpiece. You must know, I'm sure you do, that we presenters have to wear earpieces so that
So we can listen to all these weird people talking.
Talking a load of rubbish in your ear, but whatever. But this is a new one.
Oh, yes.
And it sounds as though everybody's in a bathroom.
Oh, nice.
It's sort of really weird.
Echoey.
I feel really weird because it affects your speech, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds as though everybody talking to me is in the loo, frankly.
Oh, right.
Which isn't a good...
Good thing.
No.
You must have a dodgy transducer.
No, it's good. I can hear what people are saying. It's just that the sound... Maybe it's rattling around in my head or something. I don't know. I don't know.
I've got a little bit of it as well.
Just what they sound like, to be fair.
Just what they sound.
And the other big news today is that if the secret to a very happy marriage or relationship are separate duvets and separate loos.
Right.
And I would agree with both of those things, wouldn't you?
Really?
Yeah, because if you share a duvet, while you might think it's cosy, you know, one person always hogs it and you end up cold in the middle of the night. And separate loos, I think, are a very good idea. I think one day we'll look back and we'll think, oh, gosh, you know, in those days we used to all share a bathroom or something.
Well, it is quite British to have a double duvet or whatever, because in places like the Netherlands and things, they don't really do it.
No, and you go into some posh
What do they do
hotels and they're
instead?
always
They
separate.
have single duvets.
Yeah.
They have
What, on a double bed?
On a double bed, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you've got your own space then, haven't you?
Oh, I see. So 2 singles on... Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Sorry, it's my slow brain.
Well, I wonder if anybody at home is watching us at the moment from underneath single or double duvets, even if you are a couple together. And would you agree on separate loos?
You see, they've got a picture. What paper is this?
That's the Telegraph.
There's a picture of a very happy young couple, smiling like idiots.
Yeah.
But their duvets don't match.
No, I know, that's wrong somewhere along the line, isn't it?
They're not matching.
No.
I mean, what a mess that bed looks.
Yeah.
Couldn't be standing in that.
But look, they're sitting up and they're watching us early in the morning.
Are
That's
they?
all right. I think so.
Wow.
Well, I imagine so.
Anyway, look, you may as well stay in bed, especially if you're thinking of going on holiday anytime soon, because there's chaos at the minute.
Absolutely.
The European airspace giant Airbus, we've all been on an Airbus at some point, there's one, flights will be disrupted after it requested immediate modifications to about 6,000 planes, half of its total fleet.
Yeah, because they're all over the world. The move comes after the discovery that it was a solar flare, or at least a sort of burst of intense radiation from the sun, and it happened to corrupt data crucial to flight controls. It sort of interfered. It's an issue looked into after an aircraft en route from Mexico to the United States experienced a sudden drop in altitude. It plunged down several thousand feet, apparently, and a lot of passengers on board, who, of course, hadn't got their seatbelts on, hit the ceiling, I gather, and it caused some head injuries.
Well, EasyJet and Wizz Air are amongst the airlines affected by these software issues, and it is threatening widespread global disruption.
Well, joining us now is the man who'll know all about it, travel correspondent for The Independent, Simon Calder. Good morning, Simon. This is very serious because there are so many Airbuses all around the globe at the moment. Do you know exactly what happened yet?
Yes, I'm going back to the 30th of October. As you mentioned, this was a JetBlue flight from Cancun in Mexico to Newark Airport near New York. It was flying over Florida when suddenly the aircraft had an uncommanded descent, very steep, as you say, and for the past 4 weeks, basically, the American investigators, as well as Airbus, have been trying to figure out what went wrong because, of course, aviation safety is entirely built on working out what happened in an event and trying to stop it happening again. And they discovered, as you say, that there was a burst of solar radiation strong enough to impact the equipment in the aircraft that operates the flaps at the back on the tail, which decide whether the aircraft is flying level or going downwards or upwards. And so they came out last afternoon, well, early yesterday evening, with this emergency airworthiness directive, which basically just said to airlines, anytime actually from 1 minute to midnight tonight, you can't fly these aircraft unless they have been modified. Now, it wasn't immediately clear, Anne, what modification was going to be needed, because clearly if they'd had to put whole new kit in, that would have been really serious. But in fact, it's for most aircraft a pretty swift 2-hour software update. And I've been seeing the effects of that. I'm glad to say that if you're flying on EasyJet today, they say they won't have any disruption. Same goes for British Airways. As you can possibly hear, I'm in the beneath the flight path here at Jeddah Airport, and there's a whole stream of aircraft landing normally. The issue has mostly affected a couple of countries. France, in particular, Paris. They have had between last night and early afternoon today, more than 50 cancellations in and out of Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. And furthermore, on top of that, there's the issue of flights in and out of Orly. The cancelled flights included one last night to Birmingham and one this morning in the opposite direction, Birmingham to Paris. And elsewhere, if you look at Frankfurt, the big problem there is just delays. There were quite a lot of delays last night, typically about 2 hours, which would correlate with the airline Lufthansa, Eurowings, other carriers thinking, OK, we're going to keep this plane on the ground, do the work, and then the flight will operate, but a couple of hours late.
Right, so it's in that sense, Simon, it's a pretty quick fix in and of itself, but always with these things, of course, the delays do go on for a few days, don't they?
Sure, yeah, and it's a question of what. So for most of the 6,000 or so aircraft, it is just a software update. Some of them, there is talk that there will need to be actually a complete new piece of equipment. For those aircraft, that is really tricky. Where do you get the parts? How do you get it installed? Does the aircraft need to remain on the ground all that time? Now, the problem is exacerbated in the United States because it's Thanksgiving weekend. We didn't see too much disruption last night, fairly quiet day, but Sunday is the big day tomorrow when all the Americans who've been with family and friends for Thanksgiving fly home. And if they don't have aircraft, that's going to be very messy. Elsewhere, Colombia, very hard hit. Avianca, the national airline based in Bogota, said 70% of our fleet's affected. We are not taking any new bookings until the 8th of December because we want to kind of protect the operation, protect our passengers. They've been cancelling flights, mostly domestic ones, and as a result of that, there's a fair amount of disruption. But British Airways, meanwhile, they've got lots of Airbus A320s. They told me that just 3 of them required attention, and they were all being done overnight with no disruption to flights.
Tell you what, Simon, though, this incident happened on October the 30th. That means that for a month we've been flying in Airbuses completely unaware that there was a potential problem.
Yes, absolutely. And there will be people who are thinking, oh, that doesn't sound very safe. But please be rest assured, I've been flying on lots of Airbus A320s since then. The investigators into this incident in Florida will have concluded that this was an extremely rare event. It hasn't been a problem with Airbus aircraft. If I can put that into contrast with the Boeing 737 MAX. You'll recall that before the COVID pandemic, there was a tragic loss of a Lion Air 737 MAX, and then soon afterwards, an Ethiopian Airlines jet in similar circumstances. As soon as it became apparent that there was a problem with that aircraft, it was grounded worldwide within days. And so the aviation industry, based entirely on investigating previous incidents, I think they quite correctly didn't immediately ground all A320s around the world while they investigated. That would have led to absolute chaos. Instead, they took a proportionate approach.
Tell you what, though, I mean, if I were flying in an Airbus today, I'd want the airline to confirm that it's been updated, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm actually flying in one tomorrow, and I'm because the rules are absolutely clear. Don't fly this aircraft again until you've done the work. It will be done. I happen to be flying on Air India. They've said that they've already, pretty impressively, in the past 15 hours or so, tackled 40% of their fleet. And the Indian government, meanwhile, has said they don't want any aircraft in their airspace for which the modification hasn't been made. So, the engineers are getting through this. For European airlines, it came at a pretty difficult time. Everybody was winding down for the weekend, and then suddenly Airbus comes out with this requirement, and it's all hands on deck.
Glad to hear it, really.
Yeah. Simon, thank you very much indeed, as always.
Thank you.
Well, let's move on to politics, because Rachel Reeves has been accused of misleading us over the state of our finances as she plotted her £30 billion tax rate, allegedly to save herself and the Prime Minister.
Yes, because the Office for Budget Responsibility have now revealed that a series of statements in recent weeks from Rachel Reeves and her officials actually falsely exaggerated the fiscal shortfall that she faced, preparing the ground for her to raise taxes and welfare spending.
Let's talk to the Deputy Political Editor for The Spectator, James Heal. So what has happened, James, as far as we can tell?
So in the last couple of days, there's been this big back and forth row between the Office of Budget Responsibility, the main watchdog, and the Chancellor about the timeline that led up to the budget, which she delivered on Wednesday. We've obviously had weeks of speculation about the extent to which there was going to be a black hole, how much headroom there was going to be for the Chancellor in making that. And the OBR have now released a letter setting out a timeline, explaining, actually, they told the Chancellor as far back as August that the productivity review it was doing, which it downgraded, was going to go ahead. And actually that she wasn't going to have this kind of black hole that she was suggesting. She actually had £4 billion extra headroom at the beginning of last month. So actually there's the question about, was the market misled about all this? Was the Chancellor honest about it when she gave her press conference? And I think we're going to see those questions asked, first of all, on the morning round tomorrow, when the Chancellor will be out talking to broadcasters, and also on Tuesday when the head of the OBR will be up before the Treasury Select Committee as well. Because
some of her political enemies, if you like, are sort of suggesting that she always intended to tax and pay out for welfare. And then when she got the good news from the OBR that there wasn't a black hole to fill, she decided to use that as an excuse anyway, even though she knew it was false.
Absolutely. And I say this ties into the wider thing about the sort of briefings that went on the budget. Was the Chancellor and her officials and her allies all very kind of upfront about what was going on to all of this? And actually, as you say, there's the question about, first of all, was sort of investment decisions undermined by this? And second of all, was she completely upfront in terms of the justification for this? She said, look, I've got no other choice but to do this. And actually people are saying, well, look, you have much more headroom than this. This is an excuse to do the budget you've always wanted, which your own MPs have wanted, which is to raise taxes to increase public sector spending. Yeah,
mind you, if she hadn't have done that, I mean, one of the positives out of this budget, if you can find any, is that we now have a £22 billion headroom, which is healthy-ish, but it's not as big as it normally is, So if we hadn't had the tax rises, I hate to say it, we wouldn't have that much headroom.
I mean, that will be very much the argument that's made on all of this. And the Treasury has hit back and said that the OBR has breached the kind of safe space they use in public policy making. So I think there's going to be a real sort of standoff in all of this. But, I mean, in terms of, I suppose, the key thing about the Chancellor is she's meant to have credibility. She's meant to explain the narrative of all this. And I think when it comes to these statements, there is a sense of diminishing return. So if we can't trust her with this budget, what can we trust her with future financial?
Well, I mean, some of the newspapers, even on their front pages, are calling her a liar. Yeah. And that is an incredibly serious allegation to make against the Chancellor of the Exchequer, for heaven's sake, if she was found out to have deliberately lied. I mean, this is big.
It is big, yes, and I think that she is going to be in a real bit of hot water over this. I don't think she'll necessarily go, but I think it's definitely very damaging for a Chancellor who already has the lowest approval ratings of any on record.
It leaves... I mean, look, nothing is going to happen directly after this budget. That's become quite clear. However, the May elections, if they go as predicted at the moment, it's very hard to see how even the Prime Minister can keep his job, frankly.
I think that's very much the sense of the conversation in the Labour Party, talking to people are waiting to see how bad it's going to be. I mean, Wales, they've won every Welsh election and general election there for 100 years, Labour. They look currently to come third there. They could come third in Scotland. They could lose seats all across the country. And so there will be that one chance, to take stock and reevaluate and consider how we got the right Prime Minister and Chancellor in place, given the current direction of this party and this government.
All right, James, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Now, just a reminder, at 18 minutes past 6, friends of GB News can vote in today's You Decide poll by scanning the QR code, which is there on the screen, and we're asking, can we trust any party, to tell the whole truth about public finances? Let us know your views.
If you're listening on the radio, the address you need is gbnews.com and you'll find the poll there. Now, it's the biggest shopping weekend of the year, in case you hadn't noticed. Black Friday sales, which sort of kicked off yesterday officially, though they've been going on some websites. They've been going for a couple of weeks.
Well, you've been shopping on Black Friday for at least a year by now.
At least a year, yeah. Anyway, it's a perfect time, of course, as they say, to bag yourself a bargain.
Yes, very tempting. Online or in store, there are plenty of deals to help you do your Christmas shopping. With Britons, apparently, well, we're going to spend an estimated £14 billion this weekend.
Let's talk to the CEO of the British Independent Retailers Association, Andrew Goodacre. Well, look, this is a healthy shot in the arm for retailers, Andrew, it would seem. Are we really getting the good deals that we think we are?
Well, good morning. Not always, I'm afraid. I think there is evidence that some retailers will offer you deals that have been available earlier in the year in any case. They're not necessarily offering you something new. And there's even evidence that some prices are inflated earlier in the year to show a bigger discount when it comes down to Black Friday. But having said that, most retailers are very responsible and you can trust them, and hopefully customers will be getting the sort of deal they're looking for. The harsh reality is, though, is that Black Friday and the build-up to this particular event, there's evidence already that consumers were buying less. Was that because of uncertainty around the budget? Was it because they were saving everything for Black Friday? And what happens thereafter? It's hard to tell. But I don't think it's been the best build-up to Black Friday that we've had in the past.
I don't know why we call it Friday, really, let alone Black, because, I mean, it does seem to last for weeks. It's been sort of going already as well. It's just sort of sales time, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a danger. I mean, I represent independent, smaller retailers you see on the high streets. 80% of our members turn their backs on Black Friday. There's reasons for that. One of them being that actually it's extended to it's almost Black November, and they can't really compete with the big guys, whether it's physical stores or online in that way. And there is a danger that customers just wait for the sale time. The blue dot sales that used to be in Debenhams, etc. Now Debenhams has gone by the wayside, maybe because they've been slashing margins so much to drive business. So the retail does really need to understand what Black Friday impact is. If you extend it too far, the danger is that you overcook or you kill the golden goose to a certain extent as well.
Yeah, I mean, I always think with this, because I am a natural-born cynic, Andrew, if they can shave that much off the profit margins, how much are they stiffing us for in ordinary days?
Yeah, I think customers are becoming more cynical about it, in fairness. I think I saw some research and customers are more aware these days of some of the sharp practices I mentioned earlier. The reality is a lot of retailers should and will use Black Friday or any sales event. It could be New Year's sales, it could be spring sales. The main reason we do that is to move on stock, end of line stock. So whatever the model may be, whatever the sector may be, some things are not going to come back, not going to be made again, and the retailer needs to sell them on because they can't return them to the manufacturer. So in many ways, the sale should be used to sell the things that they thought they could sell more of earlier in the year, but now they have to move them on in order to allow new stock to come in. If that is maintained, then that's good business practice and customers are benefiting. The danger is as retailers scramble, and they've been scrambling this year for consumers to spend, it's been a difficult year, then it may be that more products that are more generally available have been included this year, and that just reduces margins.
And never before have we had a budget right before a Black Friday. I wonder if it's having an effect.
Yeah, well, we do know that the build-up to the budget has had an effect on retail sales in general. The BRC, British Retail Consortium, was released some figures 2 weeks ago that suggested that October and early November had been very quiet by comparison. I think the budget, the timing of it, we said as soon as it was announced it was unnecessary. It's normally in October. It should have been in October. That would have left the golden quarter or November, December for customers to decide what to do with their spending power post-budget. This is such an important time for retail. There wasn't a worse time to place a budget. And sadly, the budget had little good Black Friday spirit in it for retail either.
All right, Andrew, really good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
I guess in the lead up to Christmas, you think you're getting a bargain for Christmas presents, don't you?
Yeah.
Just make sure it is a bargain.
Right, should we have a look at the weather for you today? Here's Annie.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. That will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland. A touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere, though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, we'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds, though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that, though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, do stay with us, because still to come, there's a damning report which has revealed that growing instances of violence at one of Britain's most notorious prisons is causing real alarm. We'll be hearing more on that story next.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's 6:29 and HMP Belmarsh is struggling with growing numbers of young adult prisoners and an increase in violence, according to a new report.
Yes, the Independent Monitoring Board said that the prison has seen a rise of 14% in incidents of violence and weapons finds. They've increased by 22%.
Well, several prisoners have apparently suffered mentally because of prison conditions, with severely mentally ill prisoners waiting 80 days on average for hospital transfers.
Joining us now is Reform UK Policing and Crime Advisor, Colin Sutton. Good morning, Colin. I mean, Belmarsh Prison is a very high security prison, isn't it? So surely you would expect probably the most violent offenders to be there.
Yeah, you would. It's a disturbing report because it's young people and young offenders that we're talking about that are in these conditions that are obviously causing problems, and the increase in violence is disturbing. I think it's like almost every crisis in public service, really. It's a question of arithmetic. It's people, it's numbers, and you have so many people there, and there are staff shortages, and they cannot cope with what's going on. And you know, it's worrying, isn't it, to see people who need a hospital place having to wait nearly 3 months to go and get their hospital place where they can get some treatment for their mental illness. So it is disturbing, but it's kind of endemic of the problem that we've got across the prison estate, where there are just too many people. And as we keep on saying, the way to solve this stroke is to take out 12% of the prison population by deporting the foreign offenders that are in our prisons. There are more than 11,000 of them. And that would free up much more space. It would stop us having to see these early releases of dangerous offenders onto the street. and mean that the staffing levels would be more appropriate and the prison population can be managed more efficiently.
But we'd also have to look at increasing the prison staffing, wouldn't we, for the longer term in all of this?
Yeah, we do, and not just it's not just a question of numbers there. Really, it's a question of conditions, and it can a question of pay and things like that as well. And this is why we've got this problem where we're having to get sort of cheaper labour, if you like, in from abroad, and that has its own problems with prison officers we've heard of that can't actually speak English very well, and that causes problems in the administration of the regime, and who knows yet until we see the report how much effect that might have had on these accidental releases that we've seen. So the whole thing, needs a review and needs money spent on it. But of course we've got a government that chooses to spend the money on welfare and mislead us about the causes of that as well in the budget. So it's not something that I think is going to see a fix anytime soon.
No, I mean, when we get a chance to look at it in detail, it'll be interesting to see whether people who are suffering mentally or went in because they had mental problems, mental health problems, are they in the right place to be in a high security prison anyway?
No, I mean, it's a very good point, Anne. I mean, we hope, and these sort of assessments should be done at the stage between trial and prison. And if people, if they need to go for medical and mental kind of treatment rather than into somewhere like Belmarsh, then one would hope that they would go straight from court to that kind of facility. But again, it's part of the estate which is under extreme pressure in terms of numbers, and it's quite possible that that people can't go there straight away, so they go into these prisons where they're assessed, and as we know now, it's taking a long time to assess them, and it's not going to help anybody's mental health, I would suggest. If you've got problems, then you go into a place like Belmarsh and the regime that's there, then it's not conducive to getting better.
No. Colin, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Yes, thank you.
Right, should we try and cheer you up? Because it is time for a brand new Great British giveaway now, and it's your chance to win our biggest cash prize to date.
Yes, there's an incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash, which could be yours for the new year. How wonderful would that be? Apparently, it is like, if you do the sums, it's like having over £7,000 extra in your bank each month for the whole of 2026. You really could be our biggest cash winner. Here's how you take part.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh, yeah, best of luck with that one. What a lovely
Yes,
prize.
very nice.
Right, still to come, we'll get all the latest sport from Aidan McGee. That's in a couple of minutes.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Flossie, how do you think your peers would react if, from now on, they were never, ever allowed to bring their phone into school?
Well, I think the big thing is really, I mean, I went to school yesterday,
after obviously doing BBC News. And surprisingly to me, all of my friends were saying, look, we completely agree with you. You're so totally doing the right thing. Obviously, it is a very sensitive topic. You know, obviously, I'm going to have people saying, stop what you're doing.
Don't take my phone away from me.
I would hate myself if I was in primary, secondary school. But realistically, the thing is, now I'm coming to realise I really wish I just didn't have a phone.
Yeah.
I am addicted to my phone now, I will admit that. I really wish I wasn't. So hopefully as well, if phones are banned in secondary schools, parents usually buy them for secondary school because everyone gets them. So hopefully that will stagger, you know, when parents buy their kids' phones, which may break, you know, the level of addiction.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I didn't have a phone, I really wish I didn't, because, you know, I keep on saying to myself, where would I be now if I didn't have a phone?
You said that people are now talking to each other on the bus because your school has moved to a stricter ban.
So my school is now completely smartphone free on anywhere where the school has a duty of care. So, yeah, it was really surprising to see kids, you know, talking and chatting rather than
because normally
just
they would
being on
text
their
each other
phones.
or they'd be on
Just staring at their phone.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, I do hope you're very successful because it's such an important campaign. Will, or Ewing and Flossie, thank you so much. Yeah.
Why can't they just take a stand? They've done it in Australia.
It might help with the
They've done it in Australia.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At 6:38, Nathan's here. Good morning.
Good morning to you both.
Should we have a look at Liverpool?
Yes, not a great view. Not a very great. Well, not in great shape, are they? Let's be honest. Jamie Carragher. I think this is what happened. Okay, he gave this interview a couple of days ago. So, well, yesterday actually, I think it was. It was published saying that they have a week to save. Well, Arne Slot has a week to save his job. Now, I think what happened was somebody threw out some footage of him off air talking about the manager, saying, "Goodness me, what's going on here?" Which is not becoming of an experienced pundit like that.
No.
You'll normally say something a bit more constructive. And I think what he's done is double down and say that, actually, I was right. They've got 3 matches now in a week, and this is a manager who's won the Premier League last season. They spent £450 million in the summer. They should be somewhere near the top at the minute. And at the moment, they're in the midst of their worst run for 71 years. 9 defeats in 12 matches, and they're 12th in the Premier League, looking as if Arsenal are way off in the distance. So they've got West Ham, Sunderland and Leeds. Yes, OK, it's easy to say he's got a week to save his job. I would expect him to take 7 points from those games minimum. But let's hear what he had to say when asked about his future, because he said he's had some conversations, not out of the ordinary conversations, with the board.
Yeah, we've had the same conversations as we've had since I'm here. And as I'm not sure if I said it last night, but we fight on and we try to improve. That's what we all try. But the conversations have been the same as they've been for the past 1.5 years.
So that's Liverpool boxed off
He's
for
so
that big
low-key.
game.
I mean, is he
know.
like that in the changing room?
Well, that's what people liked about him. Jurgen Klopp was a heavy metal footballer, as he called
Yeah.
it, and he was out of his seat and he was cajoling the crowd. Arne Slot was Mr. Cool, but we're starting to see his tenure unravel at the moment. He does need some results pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Can we have a look at
Cole Palmer?
Cole Palmer.
Yes, well, we were told
also about his toe, and he's broken his toe. And
well, yeah, it's obviously not as bad as first feared, because he did miss the Burnley and the Barcelona games in the week. He wouldn't have wanted to miss the Barca game because it was a fantastic win. But the manager yesterday, Enzo Maresca, said that it's not as bad as first feared. That's good news for England as well as Chelsea.
It's either broken or it's not.
No, but it's maybe they don't know. I mean, I broke my arm in the mid-'80s, and they told me it was sprained first of all, and I went back a couple of weeks later and it was broken. So it could be one of those. And look, I just wonder, they've got a huge game against Arsenal tomorrow, and he's just teasing Arsenal that he might play tomorrow. I don't think he will, but...
Do we know what foot it is?
Yeah, it's his right foot, I believe.
And he is a right footer.
He's both. He's that good.
Okay.
He's that good. But they play Arsenal tomorrow. If Arsenal win, I was at the Arsenal game on Wednesday. They looked outstanding. If they move ahead by 9 points tomorrow, I think that'll be them home and host.
All right, Aidan, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Now, still to come, Prince William made a surprise appearance at a country pub. Woo! Leaving a generous tip, I'm very glad to tell you. We'll be going through the details of that and lots of the other stories from the papers coming up with Duncan and Charlotte, who they're doing their homework. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's where you're going to have to go for it.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. If you're heading away this weekend, it is actually looking fairly unsettled across parts of Europe and definitely cooler than usual. Across the Canary Islands, a risk of showers throughout the weekend and into next week. Temperatures around 18 or 19 degrees. A little bit cooler than usual across parts of Spain and Italy, just around 12 or 14 degrees. And some wet weather is pushing into parts of Greece. But actually, more eastern areas of Greece should stay relatively dry, so plenty of sunshine to come for Santorini. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Right, let's have a look at the papers for you at 6:45 with political commentator Duncan Barks and the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Good morning.
Morning.
Both. Charlotte, the Telegraph, is Reeves on the ropes?
Yeah, I think she probably is. So this is obviously Reeves misleading the public, really, saying we needed emergency surgery on the public
on public finances, but actually we didn't. Actually the economy was in a better position, and she kind of misled the public, really. And already I feel the middle classes are feeling battered and bruised, demoralised, and now, on top of that, they feel distrustful, and they feel they've been misled. So I think it's going to be a very tricky few days for Miss
Why
Reeves.
would she do that?
Oh, I can't answer that question. I don't know. I can't.
You'd think if she'd learned from the OBR that
Yeah,
actually she'd
yeah.
gotten out of a black hole, you'd think she'd stand up
Exactly.
and want the credit.
I'm beyond explaining anything that this current Chancellor has done. And I mean, the whole run-up to the budget was it was laughable. Do you remember that? I mean, Kemi Badenoch referred to it in her budget response quite brilliantly when our Cheerios were interrupted with a Downing Street press conference at about 8:10 in the morning. Which said absolutely nothing. It was like, we're going to have to do something about income tax. And, of course, nothing happened after that. I think she's in trouble. I think she's, to use a maritime analogy, she's holed, but not quite yet beneath the waterline. But I think just piles on the pressure against Rachel Reeves. And I saw James Heal earlier talking about this. I think, her next crisis point, she won't be going anywhere before Christmas, but I think the May elections will be pivotal to whether or not she survives. And she gave this quite boisterous speech, didn't she, in the media, talking about, I'll be here for the next budget and the year after, etc. And I found myself thinking, that's quite brave.
Yeah. I feel that before there was incompetence, there was the kite flying, and as you say, the Cheerios interruption, and that was all building into a narrative that she might go by May. But this is actually something very concrete that she's actually done. She's actually misled the public. So I think if any kind of independent inquiry proves that to be true, I think she'll be out before Christmas.
And this doesn't help with integrity in politics, does it? I mean, people have, understandably, quite a low opinion of some of our politicians. Then you read about this, and you just find yourself thinking, I could understand why people would never believe another word a politician said again in the future, because if it turns out she deliberately misled the public, that is really serious, and we need to get trust back in politicians and integrity in politics. I mean, God knows we need it.
Just briefly, what did you think of Kemi Badenoch?
I thought she did an amazing job. I mean, she did go quite hardcore. She was pretty angry.
Yeah,
but I think she's
see the anger in her.
Yeah, and it made for an amazing performance because she's had some lacklustre performances in the past. But I think she's reflecting the anger of the nation. I mean, especially the middle classes. We're furious. We can't get opportunities, jobs. Oh, it's just, we're all kind of going a bit mad. And she reflected
really pulled in on her inner Thatcher, didn't she?
I thought she was brilliant. I thought it was outstanding, to use the breakfast cereal analogy. It's clearly she had more than 2 Weetabix that morning. She
more than
was
2
brilliant.
espressos.
Exactly, and she was on fire, and it was the Kemi that I've wanted to see for several months. And she's been challenged. Well, it's all about breaking through, but she was challenged in the last couple of days after the budget. People saying, did you not go too far? Was it too personal? And she rightly said, this is the Labour Party who don't hold back against the Conservatives' track record. This is the Labour Party whose MPs, and up until recently Deputy Prime Minister, were recorded branding all Conservatives as scum, right? So, let's put this into context. Kemi doesn't have a case to answer. I thought it was her best speech to date.
I thought her advisors must have said to her, try and make Rachel Reeves cry.
I thought Rachel Reeves would cry at one point.
Baiting her all the time.
She looked very sad, Rachel, at points.
Shocked she looked.
I like the pantomime of the up and the down, it was a real show.
Let's have a look at The Guardian, Duncan. A national prostate screening programme, a lot of people have been calling for, is not going to happen.
No, so notable public figures, Chris Hoy and Stephen Fry, the journalist Giles Corrin, all of whom have said, look, we need to have this national screening programme that's routine for blokes of a certain age, and I put myself into that category, possibly you, Stephen, obviously you look a lot younger than me. And the bit I don't understand about this, and I've read this story a couple of times, the National Screening Committee, which is made up of doctors and economists, have said to the government and the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, if we had this routine national screening programme, if we have one in place, quote, is likely to cause more harm than good, which I can't quite get my head around.
Because it overdiagnoses, I think.
Well, yes, it's...
And you could be being treated for something that might actually never happen to you.
Well, no, though, because what they do now, that was always the case, because you do the blood test, and if it came back positive, you'd often have... what do you call it when they go in and take something out to have a look? A biopsy. The biopsies can cause problems, but they don't do that now. They do an ultrasound.
As I say, I think most people listening and watching GB News this morning, when they hear the likely to cause more harm than good, will go, hang on, I don't get this. And I'm trying to get my head around
I don't get it.
And we have to remember the following. It's the biggest cause of cancer in men, prostate cancer. There are over 55,000 diagnoses a year and currently over 12,000 deaths a year. So if this is likely to cause more harm than good, and you take these findings as gospel, then you need to find another way of reducing those figures I've just mentioned.
Well, Wes Streeting's going to look at this, isn't he? And you never know, he may still decide to go ahead.
Let's have a look at the Times, Charlotte, should we? George Aberonye.
Yeah.
He was the Oxford Union president who tweeted something horrible after the death of Charlie Kirk and then got booted out as a result. He's now apologised.
Yes, and it's a very full apology. He said, "I'm very sorry. I hope they're able in some capacity to move on. Nobody deserves to lose a husband or a child." And I think this is really heartening, actually, because he was so entrenched in his position as the president of the Oxford Uni. He was so caught up in woke hysteria that he felt it was OK to celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk, and nobody really pulled him up on it, except for, obviously, the media and the press, but not in his circle. And what this gives me hope for is that these very entrenched positions, actually, you can row back and apologise. I hope this sets an example to some of his students.
It just shows, does it not, that they're not in the real world sometimes.
Yeah.
These students, they live, as you say, in a bubble almost, especially those who are at the top of the Oxford Uni.
Well, it's all driven by social media, isn't it? I don't want to sound like a grumpy old man, but it's the social media... I am, actually, and I'm very proud to be as well. It's all driven by how should I react on this? How can I get attention? People need to hear or see my view regarding this. And this bloke is right to apologise because he was bang out of order.
Yeah, I've got to say, I get what you're saying, Charlotte. I don't know if I believe the apology.
Oh, really?
Or is he just wanting a bit of...
more attention?
He's not been in the press for a couple of months.
I did believe it because I think it was interesting that he said no child deserves to lose a dad. And I was thinking about Bob Vylan. So Bob Vylan, you know, he doubled down on all his Palestine stuff. So he could have doubled down. I think it's interesting that he didn't. But yes, you're very cynical. Maybe he was just having his arm twisted behind the scenes.
Of course, he probably realises now that he's basically going to come out of university unemployable.
Yeah, totally.
Stage.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a bit cynical on it.
I think you're right to be cynical.
And what about Prince William?
Two grumpy old men together.
Two grumpy old men.
Prince William, soon, one day to be king, actually has popped into the local pub.
He has. This is a great picture. It's in the Telegraph. He's been to Wiltshire, to Mere in Warminster in Wiltshire, a pub called the Walnut Tree Inn, doing his bit for hospitality, which has been battered in the budget. And I know a lot of pub owners who are suffering at the moment. That's the political part of that story. But the Prince of Wales was in the area on official Duchy of Cornwall business, and he went to the Boozer, and he went to this pub, the Walnut Tree Inn, and he had burger and chips.
Oh, good on him.
Which, looking at the menu, was £18.95. It looks like a proper burger. And one of the reasons it's made the paper is because he left a tip of £25.
There you are. He's a man of the people.
Man of the people.
And not only that, but he took up 2 tables for his security as well.
Guards, yeah. I hope he paid for their lunch as well. All right, you two, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Here's the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. That will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp though for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, we'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to shopping trips, yes to home improvements. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
And all the way around it, there's going to be 1 million bricks with 1 million answered prayers, so people can take their smartphones, scan a prayer and see how it was answered. I'm joined now by Richard Gamble. You're the founder of this project. Just tell us about it and what inspired you.
So the concept is we want to bring hope to people, and anyone coming will be able to point their phone at any one of the bricks and their phone will light up and tell them the story of answered prayer. And God spoke to me about this 21 years ago, so it's been a roller coaster journey. So it's just a real thrill today that we can get started, and we want to proclaim to the nation that Jesus is alive, he listens, and he answers our prayers.
And how important do you think this is now in this day and age?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we're doing is we're not just collecting the answered prayers from now, but from all of history. So we want to preserve the Christian heritage of the nation and get schools and colleges to come and visit and find out all the stories of what God's done through our history. And I think particularly now that's more important than ever.
And you didn't want it to look like a religious monument as such, like Christ the Redeemer?
Yeah, when we ran a global competition with the Royal Institute of British Architects, we didn't want it to have the Christian iconography. We wanted to be a stunning structural design that basically encourages people to come along, have a look, and when they come they'll be able to see all these tiny bricks on it and realise how big a million is. And I hope as a piece of art that's going to inspire millions of people to think about praying.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. Could there be travel chaos on the horizon?
Millions of airline passengers could have their flights delayed or disrupted after the sort of computer systems aboard Airbus A320s have been found to be susceptible to intense solar radiation. We'll have the latest on that breaking story throughout the morning.
The Chancellor is on the brink. She's been accused of misleading the public ahead of the budget.
It's been revealed that Rachel Reeves might have lied about £30 billion black holes to pave the way for a tax raid on workers.
President Trump could hand over Ukraine's occupied territories, including Crimea, to Russia as he draws close, apparently, to securing a deal with Vladimir Putin.
And then, of course, you can shop till you drop if you really want. Black Friday spending in the UK set to reach £6.4 billion this year on the nation's busiest, or second busiest today, shopping day of the year.
Simon Cowell admits to washing his own blood to age backwards. Sounds a bit weird. We're going to try and find out what that is. But what's wrong with getting old in the first place?
McLaren's Lando Norris has qualified third in the sprint race at the Qatar Grand Prix on the weekend when he can win his first world title. And could there be hope for England? In the Ashes, Australia captain Pat Cummins is ruled out for the second test in Brisbane.
Good morning. It's a wet day to come for many southern central areas. We do have a warning in force. Much drier further north, but you can find out all the details with me a little later on.
Just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
There's been a nasty theft in France.
Oh, of?
Would you? Snails, believe it or not.
Thieves have actually deliberately stolen snails.
Snails, but not just any old snails. These are luxury snails from l'Escargot de Grand Cru. So it's in the Champagne region, so they're probably champagne-y sort of stuff.
Probably quite easy to catch, not going to run away, are they?
Well, yeah, but they've stolen £78,000 worth of snails.
What?
And it's from this fella who runs this particular farm. It's taken a year's worth of work off him. So all his work for a year has been stolen. So £78,000 worth of fresh and frozen snails. There is a farm in Bouzy.
Bouzy?
In the Champagne region.
Oh, that's a good word, isn't it?
It's a Bouzy region.
Well, that's where the Bouzy comes from.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I did not know.
Booze? Yeah, because Bouzy's in Champagne, yeah. Oh, come on, you lot. Come on.
Talking of words, have you got a nice word for... Because, you know, you often come out with little northern quips.
Oh, yes.
For, you know, hunkering down and just getting together and enjoying warmth and togetherness at Christmas. Or in the winter.
No.
Because the Scandies have a word for it, don't
yes,
they?
Called do.
Hygge.
Yeah.
Which is basically hugging together, hygge. And it's a lovely idea. I've got a Scandinavian friend who always signs off saying big hugs, hygge. And apparently in Scotland it's called curry-doon.
Curry-doon?
Curry-doon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you curry-doon together under the duvet, or you know, or you under a rug on the sofa to watch a movie. That's called currying-doon.
All right, no, I'm not
You've not got a word
familiar
for
with a northern version of that.
No.
Snuggle up.
It's snuggle up, exactly. It's a snuggle.
Yeah.
I doubt any other people say snuggle, do they? Anyway.
I've heard it a few times.
I like that. You curry-doon. Should we curry-doon today?
Yeah. To the news.
Isn't it? I like that.
A little bit forward of you. You know, fair enough.
Take it how you will. Never offer again.
Actually, I'll tell you what, I'm sat on the blanket. I am sat on a blanket, so it's quite cosy. So we could just.
So we curry-doon.
It doesn't stretch to me, though.
No, it doesn't stretch to you. You'll have to just freeze it. So we'll do that.
That's more like
so
it.
Curry-doon in the studio. There you go. Lovely. And as we do that, we better tell you what's going on today. Because the European aerospace giant Airbus has warned flights will be disrupted after it requested immediate modifications to about 6,000 of its planes. That's about half of the fleet.
Yes, the move comes after the discovery that intense radiation from the sun, in other words, they call it a solar flare, could actually corrupt data, which is crucial to flight controls. And it's an issue now being looked at after an aircraft, it was an Airbus, en route from Mexico to from Mexico to the United States, suddenly experienced a drop in altitude. That was on October the 30th.
Now, we're being told EasyJet isn't having any planes disrupted by this as a result, because have been fixed very quickly. Wizz Air, we think, are affected by this. But there is the possibility, and particularly in the United States, of widespread global disruption.
Yeah, so, of course, earlier on, we consulted the person who knows all about this sort of thing, travel correspondent for The Independent, Simon Calder.
So for most of the 6,000 or so aircraft, it is just a software update. Some of them, there is talk that there will need to be actually a complete new piece of equipment. For those aircraft, that is really tricky. Where do you get the parts? How do you get it installed? Does the aircraft need to remain on the ground all that time? Now, the problem is exacerbated in the United States because it's Thanksgiving weekend. We didn't see too much disruption last night, fairly quiet day, but Sunday is the big day tomorrow when all the Americans who've been with family and friends for Thanksgiving fly home, and if they don't have aircraft, that's going to be very messy. Elsewhere, Colombia, very hard hit. Avianca, the national airline based in Bogota, said 70% of our fleet's affected. We are not taking any new bookings until the 8th of December because we want to kind of protect the operation, protect our passengers. They've been cancelling flights, mostly domestic ones, and as a result of that, there's a fair amount of disruption. But British Airways, meanwhile, they've got lots of Airbus A320s. They told me that just 3 of them required attention, and they were all being done overnight with no disruption to flights.
Tell you what, Simon, though, this incident happened on October the 30th. That means that for a month we've been flying in Airbuses completely unaware that there was a potential problem.
Yes, absolutely. And there will be people who are thinking, oh, that doesn't sound very safe. But please be rest assured, I've been flying on lots of Airbus A320s since then. The investigators into this incident in Florida will have concluded that this was an extremely rare event. It hasn't been a problem with Airbus aircraft. If I can put that into contrast with the Boeing 737 MAX. You'll recall that before the COVID pandemic, there was a tragic loss of a Lion Air 737 MAX, and then soon afterwards, an Ethiopian Airlines jet in similar circumstances. As soon as it became apparent that there was a problem with that aircraft, it was grounded worldwide within days. And so the aviation industry, based entirely on investigating previous incidents, I think they quite correctly didn't immediately ground all A320s around the world while they investigated. That would have led to absolute chaos. Instead, they took a proportionate approach.
Tell you what, though, I mean, if I were flying in an Airbus today, I'd want the airline to confirm that it's been updated, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm actually flying in one tomorrow, and I'm because the rules are absolutely clear. Don't fly this aircraft again until you've done the work. It will be done. I happen to be flying on Air India. They've said that they've already, pretty impressively, in the past 15 hours or so, tackled 40% of their fleet. And the Indian government, meanwhile, has said they don't want any aircraft in their airspace for which the modification hasn't been made. So, the engineers are getting through this. For European airlines, it came at a pretty difficult time. Everybody was winding down for the weekend, and then suddenly Airbus comes out with this requirement, and it's all hands on deck.
So there you are. I hope you get away if you're planning to.
It's a worry. I mean, look, you've got to trust that they'll get on top of it, and they do seem to be doing that. However, it's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
There's always something, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always something.
Still, apparently, statistically, the safest form of travel.
Yeah.
OK. And apparently, it's not curry doen, it's curry in. And also, you're wrong about booze, because booze comes from the Dutch verb boozen, which means to drink heavily. Sorry to wet your fireworks, Stephen.
Wet my fireworks. So now that's a phrase I like.
Wet your fireworks.
Yeah.
And then he also adds, and in the northeast, you get cosy by happing up. Happing up with clothes and a blanket and things like that. So you curry doen, you hygge, or you can hap up.
Or curry in.
Or curry in.
Well, it says curry doon in the papers.
It does, so it must be right.
There's all variations of it, it would seem. So let's not get our knickers in a twist.
No. Oh, another one.
Right. The Chancellor has been accused of misleading the public over the state of the country's finances as she plotted that £30 billion tax rate, allegedly just to save herself and the Prime Minister from the backbenchers.
Well, it seems to have worked, but only for a couple of days, because the Office for Budget Responsibility has now revealed that a series of statements in recent weeks from Rachel Reeves and her officials falsely exaggerated the fiscal shortfall that she was facing, preparing the ground, and maybe she meant to do it anyway, to raise taxes, basically.
Let's talk to the Deputy Political Editor for The Spectator, James Heal. This is a mess. Is she doomed?
Well, it certainly doesn't look like she's going to have much of a long-term future, does it? Look, I think she will be able to get through this because I think a lot of the anger and irritation that is being directed at Rachel Reeves doesn't come from within her own party. Most of the MPs I've spoken to about that budget on Wednesday were quite happy with it. But obviously, there are lots of long-term questions about this, which is, of course, you know, if the Chancellor has burned up a lot of her credibility by giving the impression or failing to correct the misleading impression leading into that budget about the state of the nation's finances, that potentially puts lots of different things at risk, including, of course, you know, the trust that the Treasury have got with the press, and also, of course, what it means for sort of wider investor relations as well. They're thinking, can we trust this whole process? Because this year's budget, the whole thing has been a shambles.
Yes, and even Labour supporters sort of concede that one, don't they? But if you look very carefully at what she has said, was it then a lie? Do we conclude it's a lie, or is it rather more complicated than that?
Well, we're going to hear what Rachel Reeves has to say tomorrow. I think it's always, you should be very, very sort of careful about calling people a liar. I certainly think that there were sort of misleading impressions, and of course we had that bizarre press conference 2 weeks ago where, according to the OBR, they'd already told her at this point that their sort of expected hit from the productivity downgrade was going to be far less than it was believed at the time. And I think in that press conference she gave a lot of hints about sort of what the direction was going to be. They failed to hose down the subsequent speculation about what that would be, failing to correct the impression. And I do think it therefore means that a lot of the kind of credibility that they built up and the way they sort of stake themselves on sort of respecting the OBR and having much more sort of the adults back in the room, etc., all that has gone out the window now.
Yeah, I was going to say, what credibility?
Well, quite,
to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, well, they would say, you know, we were not going to be like the Tories, we're not going to be the sort of shambles, we're going to trust what the OBR says, we won't go back to Liz Truss. And actually, we've now got the Chancellor and the Treasury at war with the OBR, a watchdog which they've empowered. That was one of the first acts they passed through Parliament.
But it is interesting that it's not necessarily... I mean, look, papers can say what they like. It's not necessary that... I mean, this will be the argument, that we didn't lie, we just didn't reveal the whole truth.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help them in public perception.
No, it doesn't. And again, I mean, this is sort of... It's diminishing returns. You can do this to get through this budget. You can sort of bluster through and sort of get away with sort of rolling the pitch. But the question is, as I say, is what does it mean for next year's budget and the one thereafter? And, of course, this is a 5-year Parliament. The whole premise of this Labour government was predicated on it being a return to stability, a stability premium, and actually we've seen the norms go out the window, all the leaking beforehand, and I think that there's a real concern now about sort of what it means for the kind of, not just Rachel Reeves' future, but also the viability of the whole budget process, and lots of people are now saying that maybe...
But also of the Prime Minister, because the folklore is, isn't it, that if you lose a Chancellor, you usually lose the Prime Minister as well.
You think about some of the Chancellors who've gone, so we had John Major after Nigel Lawson, Jeremy Hunt after Kwasi Kwarteng. It therefore makes the next Chancellor all but unsackable, and you wonder what kind of direction, given the current mood of the Labour Party, would it be to the left or to the right? I think it's probably going to be someone who'd be much more in a sort of tax and spend direction. And
if you look at the front bench of Labour, who would you trust to be the next Chancellor?
Well, it depends if Keir Starmer will have that lucky choice or not. I mean, the way things are going, I mean, the two people are bound together in their fates, you know, Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer. They don't really have a sort of separate economic policy they've shared and all of that. And so if one goes, you expect the other one might as well.
Yeah. All right, James, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, maybe you'd like to get in touch with your thoughts on that. If you look at the Labour front bench at the moment, who would you think would make the next Chancellor?
Or Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I just don't know, do you? Because I mean, it's getting it through the Labour Party, of course. It's getting it through the members. Well, the Parliamentary Party and then the members. I mean, I just don't know. They
don't seem to agree on anything.
No, they don't at the moment. Anyway, look, you can have your say by going to gbnews.com/yoursay. And actually, if you want to get in touch, there are other ways of doing it. If you're a friend of GB News, which you can join for free, you can get in touch in a whole host of different ways, and you can take part in the You Decide poll. There's a QR code on your screen right now. If you're listening on the radio, it's gbnews.com to get to that. We're asking, can we trust any party to tell the whole truth about public finances? Let us know what you think. We'll tell you how the vote's going a little bit later on.
Now, here's a day to actually spend, if you've got it. to spend. Black Friday weekend, it's called, and it's here now, but shoppers are set to spend over £14 billion over the weekend. Many are warning, though, about the rise of scams.
Yeah, if it looks too good to be true, maybe it is. Researchers identified the weekend of sales as a prime time for scammers, criminals looking to exploit all that pressure to buy for Christmas. A lot of fast browsing, as they call it. We're skimming through as many websites as we can, plus heavy online traffic.
And joining us now to give us the lowdown on how to spot and stop falling for scams is consumer and retail expert Helen Dewdney. Good morning, Helen. I mean, my family have a WhatsApp group where we're always warning everybody else in the family about obvious scams, but not an awful lot of people do fall for them and actually just part with huge amounts of money.
They absolutely do, and it's very easy to fall into it because the scammers will use psychological tricks. So things like making it look like you've only got 2 hours to get a bargain and things like that. So the pressure sort of overrides any common sense thinking, and you tend to think, oh, I've got to get it now before it goes. So using those kinds of tricks really help in scamming people, really.
So what do we need to look out for, Helen?
I think the classic ones are if you're getting emails and they're saying, go to this website and you'll get 20% off or 30% off, because they might not be the site that you think they are. So it could be an email, a text, that don't click on those links unless you absolutely trust it. So go out of that, go onto the internet and type in a website. If it's a website that you've never been to before, then you can put into a search the name of the company and scam and see if any articles come up. Check out the reviews, obviously not the reviews on the website because they could be fake. So it's those kinds of things and being aware of the tricks, really, and and things like the padlock on the top of the on the website. That isn't about security. That's just about sort of correspondence is being kept clear. So it is a case of just making sure that you know all those things. And of course, the old adage: if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, and also you can click on, I don't mean click to go through it anywhere, but you can go to the address of the person who sent you either the text or the email. And very often the scam has this ridiculously long, almost Chinese sort of address. And it's very clearly from somebody who isn't who they say they are.
Yeah, but also just remember that also from those texts and emails, they can fake where it's coming from as well, just like they can fake the phone number. So you come up with a number saying it's from your bank, it might not necessarily be your bank. So they are, they're very clever, those tricks that they can use, but always use a credit card if possible when you're buying, so you've got that cover as well.
What happens if you do get scammed, Helen? What should you do?
Well, you should go to your bank. So hopefully you'll have used a credit card, so you'll have got Section 75 cover for anything that's over £100, and under £100 if you've used a credit card or a debit card, you've got the chargeback. So immediately go to your bank and see if they can help you get that money back. They should, under those schemes, give you the money back. Don't use bank transfers ever.
But what about action fraud?
You can report it to Action Fraud, but they don't actually investigate individual cases. So you can report it to Action Fraud, and then they will use that to build up a picture. So if everybody forwards the same kind of email, then they'll look into that as part of their investigation into fraud and crime, but they won't help you as an individual.
Yeah, you can very often, as you said, you can Google the company or whatever and say, is this a scam? You can also ask AI, do you think this is a scam? And it will give you quite a sort of good breakdown.
Be very careful of using AI for anything like that. It does tend to get things wrong.
Yes.
It even says itself, if you're looking for consumer laws and stuff, it gets things wrong all the time. So I would be very careful of using AI.
But you can use an overall impression. It's as you were saying, if it looks like it's too good to be true, then treat it with absolute suspicion.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at, apps like sites like Price Runner and Price Spy, and you can see the price of items across different stores. So if it looks like, everywhere's selling something for about £50–60, and then this site's selling it for £20, you have to ask yourself why.
Why?
Yeah. All right, Helen. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Happy shopping.
Yeah. We all get caught up in the hysteria of shopping, don't we? I don't know why, but it gives you a buzz a bit. Does it not?
So what it does is to think you're getting a bargain.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I tend to go to those sites that we know
a
bit more. You know the one I'm talking about. It does all the big deals.
No.
Yes.
OK, you have to tell me. No, you have to tell me.
But...
expert shopper.
Expert. But, I mean, because I am so suspicious, and any emails and texts and all that now, it's just crazy how much
it's
spam
horrible
it is.
as well, isn't it? You think, what horrible people there are. They're just trying to deceive
thieves.
You. Yeah.
Absolute thieves.
But there
Nasty.
are hundreds, thousands, probably millions out there.
So be careful
Yeah.
when you're doing your online shopping. Anyway, you don't want to do any for the next couple of minutes. Take a pause, take a breath, because it's our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name's Andrew Satch and I'm an Anglican minister at Grace Church Greenwich. I want to talk today about judgment. In fact, that's a subject that Christians traditionally think about during the season of Advent, which begins tomorrow. And I want to read one of the most misquoted lines from the teaching of Jesus from the Sermon on the Mount. Don't judge, says Jesus. People love that. It sounds like he's championing some kind of expressive individualism. Each do their own, you do you, no absolute moral standards. But that's not what Jesus means at all. So rather than take him out of context, let me read the whole verse. Matthew chapter 7, verse 1. Don't judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way that you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure that you use, it will be measured to you. Jesus is warning about hypocrisy, that we notice the moral failings of others, but we're oblivious to our own. And he has this very comic illustration. How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? Imagine you're sitting there in the optician and they're looking into their ophthalmoscope, and all the time there's this great log or spatula coming out of their own eye. And it's just a silly illustration. But Jesus isn't saying we should ignore other people's specks. Taking specks out of eyes can be really helpful. We should just give precedence to our own logs. You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you'll see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye, says Jesus.
Yes.
Well, I hope as you watched that, you were enjoying a curry dune. Or a hygge.
Yeah.
Or a... What was the other one? I can't remember.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Hepping up or something.
So,
being cosy for the winter, because it really does feel as though winter's got a grip on us now.
Yes, it's nice to snuggle up and have a little contemplate for a couple of minutes with our daily reflection. Right, should we see what the weather's going to do for you? Here's Annie.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. Now, it will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere, though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, We'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds, though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that, though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Still to come, we're going to be talking about something that actually has got a lot of you very interested already, because Simon Cowell has admitted to washing his own blood in order to, as he calls it, age backwards. Is that going a little too far? And what's wrong with getting older anyway? So we're going to be debating that next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Dixon Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dixon weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News, lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now, Mr. Simon Cowell has been reported to be, wait for it, washing his own blood in order to age backwards.
He's the latest middle-aged man taking extreme measures to try and roll back the clock, following SpaceX founder Elon Musk, who apparently does something similar, and Amazon's Jeff Bezos.
But this has led to members of the public questioning whether these sort of miracle cures or treatments or anything are setting unrealistic beauty standards for the rest of us.
Is he unrealistically beautiful, do you think?
Simon Cowell? He just looks like he's had too much work done.
Exactly, yeah. We're joined by actress Debbie Arnold, who has probably got a view on this one. Hi there, Debbie.
Hello, darling. How are you? I mean, really, I mean, us girls, we do loads and loads of things, don't we, Anne? But washing your own blood, really?
Well, it sounds a bit like dialysis or something. It must be something like that.
Exactly. Poor people have to go through that for medical reasons. I can't imagine. There must be loads of risks involved in this as well. Infection, all those machines. I mean, what is all that about? I'd much rather just go and have a little tweak here and there.
Well, we do, but I don't want to get personal, Debbie. But I mean, but I mean, do you have tweaks? Is it worth even doing that, really, rather than just growing old gracefully?
Darling, if I didn't have tweaks, I think that I wouldn't be able to work. I mean, I think most actresses, most presenters, most people do. And it's been going on for centuries, well, at least 100 years with all the Hollywood film stars and stuff like that. And I think, yes, we are in an industry where we have to look good, I think. But I think Simon Cowell has gone far too far. I mean, he looks absolutely ridiculous. And also, about aging, there's a way to age gracefully, isn't there? Which is, I think the people who've had the best work done are people that you would never know they'd had it done. But he looks ridiculous, doesn't he?
One of our viewers, Maggie, has got in touch with a very good point, I feel. She says it's all very well washing your blood, but it's still circulating through your old organs and veins and arteries.
Yes, exactly. So how can all of these things that this guy is doing, I can't remember his name in the States, you know,
Jeff Bezos or Elon
Musk?
No,
the guy who wants to be younger than his son, sort of thing. I know who you mean.
Exactly. Well, I wouldn't like to be younger than my daughter. It would be ridiculous. I wouldn't be able to boss her about as much. But you know what I mean? It's why do we need to rejuvenate our bodies? If we look after our bodies, actually our bodies look after us. If we look after them well, if we eat well and do the right things. But this blood, it actually worries me. I think it's quite a weird. And also the intravenous drips. Also, anything I think that you can put in that way round, I find them all a bit weird.
The problem is we're all a bit hypocritical, though, aren't we? Because we can criticise someone for doing something, and yet we are all doing our own things, whether it's having a little nip and tuck, or whether it's having Botox, or whether it's having your hair dyed, or
taking one of those fat jabs. Because women at the moment are getting so thin, you worry for them.
Yeah. I agree. I think we need to do everything in moderation. However, I do think that this blood thing, and you're right, Anne, you know, that lady who said that, all of your organs are still low. You can't take them out and rejuvenate them yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I find it very weird.
Yeah. All right, Debbie, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Good to talk to you guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a lovely Black Friday weekend.
I sort of think you can do something. It's just going a bit over. If you go overboard, that's the thing.
Why can't they? I just worry about people who, they've got too much money to spend, obviously. But obviously there are these anti-aging experiments going on all the time.
Yeah. But what woman doesn't put on some anti-aging cream at some point or other?
Well, you could. Well, I wouldn't buy something that says anti-aging on it because I think that's just, all good moisturisers do the same thing.
But the other thing is, I would say, is what is wrong with getting older? What is wrong with getting older? We don't have to try and be perpetually youthful, do we? I don't want to be perpetually youthful. I just want to age quite well and remain healthy.
Or slow down the ageing process, You don't want to look 80, you want to look 70 at 80, don't you?
I suppose so.
Somebody was very kind to say that I looked good for 90. Thank you very much.
You do look good for 90.
Thank you very much, yeah. I'll remind you of that when you are.
If you're still here when I'm 90...
Well, that's true.
Then I'll be very impressed.
I will.
Good.
By then I'll have had all the work done and,
You look like 40. A teenager again.
Exactly.
All right, look, let's tell you about our brand new Great British giveaway. It's our biggest cash prize to date. Wait for it. £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours in the new year. It's an awful lot of money. Here's how you enter.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Still to come, we're going to have the sports news with Aidan McGee. He's waiting in the wings eagerly, so don't go away.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very, very easy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, he's here. Aidan McGee is here with the sport. Morning again. Are we going to kick off with the Ashes, though, the cricket Ashes?
Yes. So, look, England are under pressure, given that they capitulated in that 30-minute spell in the second innings of the first Test down in Perth. Now, the second Test starts in, I think it's Thursday, December the 4th. Is that December the 4th? I think so, down in Brisbane. And all the talk is about, well, 3 issues, really. Can they cope with the day-night game and the pink ball? Can they cope with the fact that, or how much of a boost will it be, the fact that Pat Cummins, the captain, is out with injury. He's not recovered from his back injury. The Australians were kind of being quite circumspect about whether he was going to play. He's that important a player. Josh Hazlewood, who was also missing from the first test, is also out again for the second test. Now, what's interesting here is that England could not capitalise on the omissions of or the absence of those two players in the first test. The door's now been left open the second time. Can England do it this time? Now, I would suggest that it's still going to be a very tall order. There is pressure, complete pressure with it on England. Ben Stokes is giving an interview overnight saying that, call us rubbish if you want, but we're not arrogant. I would suggest that I can
That's
see
what
how
the Australians called them, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, this is Mitchell Johnson, who was the guy who dispatched England in 2013 with an exhibition of bowling. He called us cocky poms who are arrogant and they're at risk of serious embarrassment. Now, the embarrassment happened in the first test, if I'm honest with you. They really need to salvage some pride and get back on course for this one.
It's psychological warfare.
It is. Well, that's what it is with Australia. And England do it as well. I mean, remember the culture of sledging, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Where, you know, there would be all sorts of abuse flung from player to player, especially when a batsman was walking out to take the field or whether he'd been got out. It doesn't happen as much anymore. I don't think that there's as much of a culture that doesn't, it just doesn't exist as much in modern society, really. But it was a thing as recent as 5-10 years ago. And, as I say, they've got plenty to prove. They've not been... I mean, Ben Stokes called the likes of Jeff Boycott and Sir Ian Botham has-beens before the first test. He said, because the only observation they made was that the preparation isn't right. They're not playing enough warm-up games. And lo and behold, they look gassed after a while in the first test.
But anyway, you don't call people of that calibre who were great in their day. I mean, great.
Yes, and
you don't call them has-beens.
Well, I think there's some beef there because 2 years ago... one of the fiercest critics of Bazball was... and Bazball is this expansive, hit-anything type of cricket, the sort of one-day mentality, when actually you don't need to hit every single ball. You can let a few fly past you and maybe get a 50, and you won't run out all your wickets.
Bazball on its way out, then.
Well, yeah, I think... Listen, it's got a big test this week, and appropriately as it's called the second test. I'd say it was the last test for Bazball, because I just don't think that the coaches are going to adapt their way of playing because they don't know anything else.
All right, Aidan, thank you very much indeed. We shall see you a little bit later on.
So many more questions we have to work on there. What's a day-night game? And why a pink ball? But no, don't. We haven't got time now.
I'll keep up my sleeve.
All right, now this Christmas we are putting on a really exciting event and we want you to be there as well.
On Saturday the 13th of December, you're invited to join the GB News family for our Carols by Candlelight concert. For your chance to be with us, you can apply for tickets by scanning the QR code on screen right now. And if you're listening on the radio, you can go to gbnews.com/carols. The concert will be broadcast on Christmas Eve.
Should be a beautiful event. We've got the papers heading away in just a moment. First, though, if you want a little bit of holiday sun, if you can get a plane that works, here's a European forecast.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, if you're heading away this weekend, it is actually looking fairly unsettled across parts of Europe and definitely cooler than usual. Across the Canary Islands, a risk of showers throughout the weekend and into next week. Temperatures around 18 or 19 degrees. A little bit cooler than usual across parts of Spain and Italy, just around 12 or 14 degrees. And some wet weather is pushing into parts of Greece. But actually, more eastern areas of Greece should stay relatively dry, so plenty of sunshine to come for Santorini. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bowl. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Right, let's have a look at the papers with the political commentator Duncan Barks and the editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
What are we starting with?
Do you want to start with Prince Edward?
Oh, yes, why not?
So he pays, as it turns out, he pays a peppercorn rent on his massive, massive stately home, really, Bagshot Park in Surrey. And he's come under fire because, of course, the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, peppercorn rent scandal happened when he was being turfed out. And so now the Times has turned its attention to Prince Edward and they say, well, you pay a peppercorn rent and that's unfair. But I just wanted to snap back on behalf of Prince Edward because actually he works really hard. He has put a foot wrong once in the past, but he really,
but that was a very long time ago.
Very long time ago, nothing like the scale of obviously the Prince Andrew saga. He paid £5 million for his lease, so it wasn't cheap, and he paid £1.36 million to do it up. So they say it's a peppercorn rent, but he's obviously invested heavily.
He's a serious working royal.
And he's a real working royal, and Prince William really respects Edward and Sophie, and they're, you know, the Queen loved them, and they're really the stable kind of forces behind the royal family at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think it's a like-for-like comparison, talking about this peppercorn rent and then talking about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he must call him now. I'm a big fan of Edward and Sophie. I mean, if you read any of the pieces regarding Sophie's relationship with the Queen, and you know, she was massively supportive.
And the former Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think it's like for like. And you know, I think Edward and Sophie, along with William and Kate, are very much the future face of the royals, and they're doing what people expect them to do.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, to be fair, the whole issue with Andrew and the peppercorn rent wasn't actually fair. Because he paid
for the lease.
He paid about £8 million, didn't he, for the lease and to do the house up and maintain the house. Now, whether he maintained the house at the standard it should have been is another matter, but it's a different way of paying the rent.
Yeah, because you're paying up front, but people think, oh, that was so long ago, it sort of doesn't count somehow. But if you paid £8 million in 2015, you'd think that does count, very much so.
Yeah. So this whole, I think it's a non-issue. I do, but I mean, that's...
Well, it's page 3 of the Times, so they're going big on it.
I wonder why they think it's so important, but they're proper working royals. They're the new Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh.
People love royal stories, we know that. People read them.
I like them. I really like the fact we have a Duchess of Edinburgh, actually.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
It's
never been in my life.
And they're very good at what they do.
Especially Sophie. She really does. She does the nitty-gritty issues as well, the really difficult ones, and she just works non-stop.
He's been in Ghana in the last week or something, doing a lot of stuff. And...
Well, one of the Times people said, you know, one of the commenters said, well, the thing is, we don't even know who Edward is. You know, we don't see him front and centre. And I thought, well, actually, that's what you need. He's behind the scenes, not kind of going on Oprah like Prince Harry. He's just doing the duty slowly and steadily every day.
He's being what a royal should be.
Well, you could... Yes, you could say the same thing about Princess Anne.
Exactly.
She's not in the spotlight, and she's the hardest working royal out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
Duncan.
true. Front page of the Times this morning, hospitality, they're right to lead with this. Hospitality facing huge stealth tax after budget. So Rachel Reeves got to her feet, as we know, on Wednesday. And one of the things she said that she would deliver the lowest tax rate since 1991 for high street pubs and restaurants. And everyone thought, well, that's kind of good, really, because our hospitality sector really needs some support. Then it turns out, on the day of her statement, a separate government agency slipped out a new, much higher assessment of the value of the buildings that these businesses operate in, used to calculate business rates, meaning the levy will raise significantly next year for the average high street business. And what we've seen here also is the discount that existed for business rates that was reduced in the last budget down to 40% from, I think, around 75 or 70%, has also been scrapped. So what we're seeing now are hospitality businesses, many of whom are already just going, we can't take any more, having this double whammy of not only are the new business rates and the structure, meaning in some cases they're going to have to pay more, but the discount that they might have benefited from has been scrapped as well. So there's no real good news for the hospitality sector.
How does this encourage growth?
It certainly doesn't. Pubs are closing all the time, aren't they? I always forget the stats, but every time I read them, I'm shocked, because they are the hub of the community, aren't they? In terms of the buildings being taxed, as it were, I mean, one of the glorious things about a pub is they're often one of the grandest buildings on the high street, because they're ancient, you know, they're a couple of 100 years old, most of them. And, you know, I love a big Victorian lofty pub. They're designed to have lots of people in them. So you can't really punish them for having big buildings.
No, it's a real shame. And if you talk to anyone on hospitality, and we've seen the people on GB News, UK Hospitality, the British Beer and Pub Association, they've been ringing the alarm bells for the last, well, since the last budget, actually. And this will not be good news. And I share your views, Charlotte. You know, when I drive into GB News, I come up through leafy Surrey, all of these picturesque villages. There's one in particular called Brook, which is lovely. It's got a cricket pitch. It's got a church. And up until recently, it had a village pub. And back in July, it closed. And they've got a blackboard outside just going, we can no longer afford to run this pub. And, you know, if you're going to be quite callous about it, in somewhere like Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, leafy Surrey, a village like that, that's where a pub should be able to survive because it's got local custom. But the people who run it, clearly, have just gone, enough is enough. And we're seeing that all over the United Kingdom. And once they've gone, these boozers, they never come back.
No, they're gone. Can we just take a moment to applaud Peter Kay? Yes. Who's got that story?
I've got that story. So Peter Kay was approached by Netflix to put Phoenix Nights on their channel.
Which is an incredible show.
Brilliant. For those who don't know, 2001, 2002, it was on Channel 4, I think, set around a working men's club in Bolton.
Yeah.
And if you're... I don't want to be sympathetic to Netflix. Actually, I don't want to be sympathetic to them. But if you were going to be, you'd be like, look, there might have been humour around that time that might not be appropriate for now. Anyway, Peter Kay got the paperwork and they wanted to put a trigger warning, and he was just like, I'm not doing any of this. But the great part of this story is they also sent him an air fryer. And he's saying, they tried to sweeten the deal by sending me an air fryer.
That is bizarre.
And he's just like, anyway, I'm not having a trigger warning on Phoenix Nights. And I think this gets us into this whole area. And I think, Stephen, you and I are in a similar place. It's like, grow up, all right? If you see something that you don't agree with or you don't like or might offend you, deal with it. Let's not fall into this rut of everything having this little warning because someone might just go, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this.
No, I absolutely agree. And actually, Phoenix, if you like that sort of comedy, if you're someone who's going to watch it, you will like it. Anyway, we're out of time, Charlotte, I'm afraid. But we will see you a little bit later on, I promise you that.
Absolutely, but right now it's time for the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. Now, we'll push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere, though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, we'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds, though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that, though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the greatest cash prize of a Great British giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Has had a £9,000 contract cancelled after he spent his summer putting up England and Union Jack flags around his hometown. So far, so patriotic. But the council didn't agree. Bill Crotty made headlines after putting up St George's and Union Jack flags on the A1198 near the village of Basingbourne in Cambridgeshire, near the town of Royston. However, not long afterwards, he received an email from his local council telling him his services will not longer be required. So he's been cancelled over a council getting into a flap over some flags. Well, I'm joined in the studio by the man himself, Bill Crotty. Bill, welcome to the show. A pleasure to have your company. I saw your flags at the time. Magnificent.
Thank you.
Resplendent. Flapping all over the area. You're a successful tree surgeon, and you had a council contract. They saw your flags and they gave you the chop.
Yeah, that's right. I advertised on, I appeared on regional news programmes.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, I got a text just telling me that the job had been pulled. So I had a conversation with the chairman, and he just said, I'm sorry, Billy. He said my hands are tied. To be honest, the chairman's a decent man, and he just said, I just couldn't do anything about it. It's out of my hands. So
We can see some of the flags that you put up there, Billy. Tell us what inspired you to put them up in the first place. I mean, it looks magnificent. And I think, as you said, 99.9% of people have absolutely no problem with them whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
GB News, the People's Channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Good morning. Could there be travel chaos on the horizon?
Millions of airline passengers could have their flights disrupted or delayed after the computer equipment, the software on Airbus A320s, have been found to be sensitive to intense solar radiation. We'll have the latest on that breaking story throughout the day.
Also, today, the Chancellor apparently on the brink as she's accused of misleading us ahead of the budget.
It's been revealed that Rachel Reeves may have lied about that £30 billion black hole so that she could go ahead with the tax raid she'd planned.
Donald Trump could hand over Ukraine's occupied territories, including Crimea, to Russia as he draws close to securing a deal with Vladimir Putin.
And then, of course, you can shop till you drop this weekend. It's Black Friday weekend, and spending in the UK is set to reach £6.4 billion this day, apparently, on the nation's second busiest shopping day of the year.
A week to save his job. That's the damning verdict of the future of beleaguered Liverpool boss Arne Slot by Reds legend Jamie Carragher. We'll have more on that later. And could there be hope for England in the Ashes? Australia captain Pat Cummins is ruled out of the second test in Brisbane.
Good morning. It's a wet day to come for many southern central areas. We do have a warning in force, much drier further north, but you can find out all the details with me a little later on.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Do you ever go and buy a coffee from a coffee shop?
Yes.
On occasion?
Not very often.
No, I don't do it very often.
I drink coffee when I'm out, but not at home. It's tea when I'm home.
All right.
It's horrendously expensive, and I never finish it, so I always think that's a silly thing to do.
Oh, well, that's a waste of money, yeah. However, I do it on very, very occasionally if we're out in town, just think, oh, do you want to grab a coffee? And you know, they do the little things on, like the little flowers on your flat white and all that sort of thing.
Very clever.
How do I sometimes try doing that at home. I can't do it. I don't know how you do it, but there's this guy here.
There'll be a tutorial on YouTube, isn't there?
Oh, probably.
Oh, there will be.
A guy called Shyam Lama, who's got designs on becoming the world's best latte artist. And they've got some of his pictures in here, and he does loads of, like, really intricate stuff. Just to make customers happy.
You can do it because you get a splodge of foam, right, and then you can, with a toothpick, you can sort of make one.
But they don't do it. But they don't do it with a toothpick.
No, they don't. They do it very differently.
They have templates they can pull the
with the logo,
chocolate, don't they?
yeah.
The chocolate.
Yeah, no.
No, but that's part of the artwork, though. That's part of the.
But one of my sons did a stint when he was a student as a barista, and he can do it. He can, but he does sort of get out the toothpick and does all sorts of weird little things. Yeah. You can do a lot of it without because you do. I do it under the coffee machine out there.
But do you? I've never seen you come out with a pattern.
Yeah.
Normally
when the foam comes out, you can do patterns on your coffee.
Because they bang the jug. Don't they? They bang the jug and then they sort of
air bubbles out or something.
I don't know, but then I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's right. One of the reasons I was one of the worst barmen ever is because I just couldn't do the shamrock, on the Guinness.
Yeah. What did it look like?
I can't. It looked like the remember that symbol that Prince used to use.
Oh right.
It looked like that. A bit like that. But the other reason I was terrible is because this woman came in one day and asked for a margarita, as in the cocktail. I thought she meant food, pizza. And I said, "Sorry, love, we don't serve food till 6 o'clock."
Oh well.
Dear.
2 shifts in one, first and last.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Terrible, yeah.
Oh right.
The Golden Star in Norwich.
No, well, if you're a latte or flat white expert, let us know. It would be very interesting to.
Yeah, by the time I'd done, I would have done a lovely little design or something. The coffee would be stone cold, so that's a bit of a drawback too.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Anyway, what is stone cold at the moment is the reaction to the budget this week. Oh dear. Anyway, the Chancellor is now on top of everything, people being very unhappy. All the polls saying sort of Labour voters are very unhappy with the budget as well. Apparently, she's being accused of misleading the public over the state of our finances as she plotted that £30 billion tax raid, allegedly, so it's claimed, purely to sort of keep the backbenchers happy and save her job and the Prime Minister's.
She's obviously going to have to defend herself. How is she going to do that? Because the Office for Budget Responsibility is now revealing that a series of statements that she made in recent weeks show that she falsely exaggerated the fiscal shortfall that she faced because she wanted to go ahead with the tax sort of raid that she was planning anyway. Joining us now in the studio, political editor for The Spectator, James Heal. A lot of the papers are using the word liar today, and if that is true, that's sackable. It has to be, doesn't it? Do you think it's too strong?
I think that we need to see more details, frankly. We need to hear Reeve's side. We've seen this letter from the OBR. The Treasury were furious at that last night. Number 10's put out a statement today saying that they've denied any claims of lying, etc. This is going to be thrashed out in the next couple of days, and it's the classic question with political stories and scandals, which is what did the Chancellor know and when? And I think we're going to see a really potentially fiery select committee meeting on Tuesday when the OBR will be giving evidence on this. So I don't think we were able to say right now if she did or not, but certainly it was misleading in the strongest possible terms.
I mean, the argument being made here is that, you know, she ultimately, to keep the backbenchers happy, wanted to raise taxes to raise welfare spending, which is the exact opposite of what she was trying to do 6 months ago.
Yes, I mean, this is the problem with the Labour government, I think, is that their stated preferences are very different from their revealed ones, which is they keep saying this line. I mean, she said it again on Friday about sort of growth is our number one priority. And, of course, it's clearly not, because they're pushing through a number of measures which, according to most independent forecasts, will not boost growth. The Employment Rights Bill is one such example. So I think a lot of these things need to be brought in context. Now, if she was going around saying that, look, you've got to take account of our own MPs, you've got to govern as the Labour Party, and, you know, there's a case for that, that would be one thing. But there's this constant sense of saying one thing and doing another, and it's revealed in its economic sphere this week. But we've also previously had in the last couple of months the collapse of the Chinese spy trial. I do think there are different issues now where the government's credibility is being tested. That's to bite them.
I mean, this is the problem, because this is about ordinary people, actually, isn't it? Who say, because we all hear it and they'll read it in the papers and they'll see it on GB News. When you have the politicians constantly saying it's all about growth, we need growth, we're going to do very well with growth, and every single policy that comes out, every fiscal policy seems to actually stifle. It's not even that they're trying and it's not working. They seem to be stifling growth with every policy.
I think that's you can look at the OBR forecasts, you know, and if the government were here, they would say, look, well, growth is up next year from 1 to 1.5%, but over the rest of this Parliament, they've now been slashed down. And, of course, the most recent figures we have, so 0.1% in the last quarter we were looking at. So I think that there is a case for that. And it's just that sort of inability to get to grips with what the UK actually needs and actually listen to business. And I do think increasingly there is a case that this government is just not listening properly to business, hasn't got that natural sympathy, and instead is doing things, as it says, which will please the party. My fear is that over the long term, that will hurt the country, and presumably it'll also hurt the Labour Party if they can't actually get any growth by 2029.
Yeah, but you sort of then ask, well, what else could she have done given the political views of the Labour Party?
Well, of course, this is the thing about the Starmer project. They came in trying to sort of damn the left of the party and govern without it and govern in spite of it, and they've ended up kind of quite beholden to it, hence why welfare needs to go past their own backbenchers. And look, I mean, I'm hearing stuff about sort of the beginning of next year there's going to be a big crackdown on welfare. We've obviously got these two reviews, the Timms and Milburn reviews. You know, wait to see it, but they'll probably come up with a big number and then they'll have a negotiation and cut that back down to something like 5 billion. We wait to see if that's going to get passed. But right now, with the party in a really sulphurous mood, truculent backbenchers, and a leader whose authority is waning, and a chancellor, of course, whose credibility is in the gutter, I think that it's going to be very difficult to see what kind of spending cuts are needed if we're going to actually get the kind of tax cuts and the growth environment to get the country moving again.
Can I ask you about Ed Miliband?
Of course.
Just because I haven't heard this mentioned since Wednesday, because there was a big hoo-ha made about that. We're going to get £150 off our energy bills on average. Right, great, but that's coming because they're going to get rid of the green levy or cut the green levy, which he presumably isn't very happy about.
Yes, there has been a whole thing in the background to this, which is about how much we're going to subsidise the levy, and this is the thing is that Rachel Reeves has agreed to a temporary subsidy of that levy. So actually, the levy will continue to exist. And yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing that's been driving this government, and it comes down to every spending review. There was speculation that Miliband wouldn't get a good settlement. It turns out he did get a good settlement. He's someone who knows the system well. He's got lots of allies in government. Lots of people in Labour believe in that green mission, but increasingly it's running up the challenge, which is that it's putting costs on people's bills, and it also means we've now got industrial energy costs, which are 5 times higher than the US, which then affects things like British Steel, for instance, and all our businesses are struggling. So it's one of those big tensions behind the scenes between the Treasury and Miliband.
No, just one of the tensions.
Yes, indeed.
And can I ask you, therefore, about Jeremy Corbyn, whose party, your party, well, they're going to decide on a name today, aren't they?
They've got a choice of 4 different names, so it's your party, our party, a couple of others as well. And it's all set in Liverpool, which is actually the same venue where Labour just had their conference back in September. And, I mean, really, who's going to be left of the Independent Alliance? Because they've already had Anand Hussain leave. There's all the sort of things that are coming out. It's got sort of 8 hours of debate today. I'm very...
8 hours of debate? That'll be riveting,
I know. We wait to see how many of the highlights. I mean, I've already seen some people getting kicked out, etc. This is the problem, is that it's disorganised Labour. There was a real opening here for the Your Party, and they could still win some seats in, say, Birmingham, for instance. But overall, the Greens are the ones making all the hay out of this because they're organised and they're playing the game much better than Corbyn and Zara Sultan.
But it goes to show there is an appetite for some of that. I mean, you look at some of the Green Party policies and they are extreme, some of them, and yet there's still people who buy into that.
But this is the thing, is that they have a very simple message, which is wealth tax, wealth tax, wealth tax. And actually Zach Polanski, when he's asked, saying, well, will you increase working class, middle class people's taxes? He says, oh, no, it'll just be the wealthy that pay. And the British public, we all love the idea of someone else will pay for it. Even though, of course, we are seeing a drain of the wealthy leaving this country. And even the figures which the Green Party have suggested would not raise the billions and billions that you'd need to get the kind of investment they claim they can secure.
All right. Or just a final thought. Well, I think, are we going to see a revolt from the unions on
employment rights bill?
Yeah.
I mean, this is in the Lords. This bill's been going back and forth, this ping pong, and this is about day one rights, which is the idea that you start on a job and you can claim the same rights as someone who's been there for months and years. And of course, the counter argument being, actually you need to see if someone's any good. You can find quickly within a few days they're actually a charlatan, a chancer, etc. The unions are unhappy about this, and I think they gave a cautious thumbs up to the budget on Wednesday. There'll be a lot of discussions going on about this dropping of day one rights. So I think that's going to be one of those kind of subplots over the next couple of weeks and months.
It's also a U-turn from the manifesto, isn't it?
Yes, it is, absolutely.
Because that's one thing Angela Rayner was very, very keen to talk about.
Yes, and it's all part of also the constitutional thing, which is that obviously the assisted dying bill's going through the Lords right now. The Lords is very unhappy, and you've now got MPs saying the unelected Lords need to take them down, etc. So that is going to cause a lot of issues for the government in terms of its legislative agenda. They can't even get the employment rights bill through. What does that mean for other different policies and tougher issues down the track?
OK. James, thank you very much indeed. It's very good to see you this morning.
Right now, 12 minutes past 8. Just a reminder, friends of GB News can vote in today's You Decide poll by scanning the QR that's on screen. And if you are not in front of a screen, it's gbnews.com.
And then you'll find the poll there.
OK, right. So the question is, can we trust any party to tell the whole truth about public finances? The results are beginning to come in. 8% of you have said, yes, we can. 92% say no. But anyway, you can sway that by having your vote.
You can. The problem is, you can believe they'll tell you anything and it will be partly true because it's so complicated.
It'd be arguable.
That they can argue the point.
And I think a lot of people are pointing out, if you're asking can any party, they still believe very much in one particular party they're quoting, saying they would change things. So it depends what you believe. But have a vote anyway.
Yeah. Now, something which could affect you if you're planning on getting away in the next couple of days. Airbus, the huge European aerospace giant, has warned that flights will be disrupted. Now, that's after it's grounded 6,000 of its 12,000 planes.
Yeah, the move comes after the discovery that solar flares, if you like, or intense radiation from the sun could corrupt data that's absolutely crucial to a plane's flight controls. And that's an issue that's been looked into now, because there was one aircraft en route from Mexico to the United States which experienced a sudden drop in altitude. That was on October the 30th.
Let's talk to the head of travel at The Sun, Lisa Minot. Good to see you this morning, Lisa. Just how serious is this? Should you be worried?
Well, I don't think there's anything to worry about. They have found a fix. It's a 2-hour fix to software that needs to be updated, but it's the impact it's going to have on the flights that we're going to be taking over the weekend. This has to be completed by Sunday, so airlines are going to have to take some aircraft out of the schedules for a limited amount of time, so 2 hours. Now, most airlines are saying at the moment that it's not going to create huge problems, but we have seen that Air France has taken a significant number out and done some cancellations in Paris. Here in the UK, it could possibly impact the likes of Wizz Air, EasyJet, possibly British Airways, but a very limited number of planes. And at this time of year, it's actually probably a better thing because, of course, it's not as busy this time of year. They're not doing the same kind of huge number of planes and flights that they would do in the summer months. So there should be some leeway in the system to allow them to take those affected planes out of service and put this software update into them.
Of course, this incident happened over the skies of America, and I gather that there is a huge number of Airbuses operating in America, and this weekend happens to be Thanksgiving weekend when everybody travels home. So it may well have more of an effect in the US.
Yeah, I mean, it was the European flight agency that have actually indicated they want this done in this weekend here in Europe. So what's happening in America, I think, will obviously still be of a concern. It's always a chaotic time of year in terms of flying because of everybody going home for the Thanksgiving weekend. So there could be some impact definitely into Sunday, of course, over in America. But here in the UK, it should be limited. But in any circumstance, if you are looking to be flying this weekend, keeping in touch with your airline is a really good idea. Making sure you've got their app downloaded, that they've got all your correct details, your correct phone number and email address, so that if they're going to be communicating with you, they can get hold of you as well. And just keeping an eye on it and making sure that before you set off for the airport, you'll check your flight is actually running as normal.
It begs, there's a lot of questions, though, about how this has happened, how's it been discovered? Because presumably this software has been in these planes for a long time, and solar flares and this sort of radiation levels from the sun are there all the time. So it's a case of why have we not noticed this before, or why has it happened now?
Well, I think it's obviously that something has come to the fore because of this incident on that JetBlue flight flying from Mexico to Newark in New Jersey. But obviously, you know, these kind of updates would be made all the time. There's always maintenance, ongoing maintenance going on any plane. We would expect nothing less than making sure that those planes are in absolute tip-top condition before they're actually allowed to fly. So although it does seem, you know, quite sudden and unusual, and it impacts a lot of planes, 6,500 Airbus planes, but really it's the kind of thing you would expect them to be doing, keeping on top of making sure that all of that software is as up-to-date and as effective as possible.
Yeah, OK. I suppose the best advice is to, as you say, as you said earlier, if you are going to fly, and you might even know whether it's an Airbus or not right now, is just to sort of make sure that you check with the airline there's going to be any significant delay or anything like that.
That's right, because obviously, you know, the Airbus are not the only planes that are being used by UK airlines. Of course, there's an awful lot of Boeings, particularly on those short-haul routes. So it's just making sure you check before you fly.
Yeah. Lisa, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you. Quite reassuring, really.
Yeah.
Might not be as bad as perhaps
if
we
it's
thought.
A computer update, a software update, surely you just plug it in and run the computer, don't you?
I just don't know why that would make a difference. So I can't get my head around with my science hat on.
Yeah.
If it's something which is affected by solar radiation, then why will a software update change it?
It could be a program that would compensate.
Oh, perhaps, yeah.
That would detect that something had been interfered. Backup.
Anyway,
something like that.
I shall ponder that as we tell you about what we're going to do for you this Christmas. We've got this incredible event on the 13th of December. It's a Saturday night, and we'd love you to join the GB News family for Carols by Candlelight.
For your chance to be with us, you can apply for tickets by scanning the QR code on the screen right now. And if you can't see it because you're in the car or on the radio or something, go to gbnews.com/carols. The concert will be broadcast then a bit later on Christmas Eve.
Yes, so make sure you've got your nice coat on.
Yeah, and you're in full throttle.
Yes, it's like being on Songs of Praise, where they might just get a shot of you singing in the pews.
Yeah, so be with the right people.
Yes.
Let's get the weather now with Annie Shuttleworth.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. That will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere, though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, we'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds, though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that, though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Still to come for you, we've got all the sports news. Aidan McGee has got actually extra time this hour, so we'll get a full roundup of what Aidan's got in the world of sport in just a moment.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Right, it's just coming up to 25 minutes past 8. Time to go through the sports. Aidan's here. Should we start with Formula One?
Yes, why not? Because we're seeing a real race develop. Well, a race, you would expect one, wouldn't you? A race, but an actual one, a contested one that's interesting, one that's throwing up some narratives, throwing up some stories that we haven't had in the last 3 or 4 years since Max Verstappen, of the Dutch-Belgian driver, since he became so dominant. We know that the story last summer was that Lewis Hamilton, could he make the difference in the red of Ferrari? Hasn't happened. His performance has not improved since his time at Mercedes. And so there needs to be someone who stepped into the breach, and that person has been Lando Norris. Now, a huge blow last week for him. He looked as if he could take a huge step towards winning his first Drivers' Championship world title last weekend, but having finished second in the race, he was actually disqualified for a technical infringement. So he lost all his points. Verstappen and his teammate Oscar Piastri were right back in the race then, and it makes it more interesting for this time. We've got, or this week in Qatar, we've got the sprint race as well. Norris has qualified third in the sprint race yesterday. That sets things up for today. But what's good for him is that Verstappen only qualified in 6th. So that puts him at a slight disadvantage when the race happens today. There are points up for grabs, but Norris can still win the world title this weekend if he gains 2 points on Piastri and Max Verstappen. What's interesting as well is that Max Verstappen has given an interview in his press conference yesterday saying that, well, he was downright disrespectful actually to Lando Norris. He said, if I'd been in your car this season, I'd be winning this race. Now,
Ooh, odd thing to say.
Imponderable. Well, it is. I mean, like, we don't know that, but he's just piling on the pressure. This is a guy who's won 3 or 4 in a row, and he wants to put some pressure on somebody who's never won it, hoping that mentally and psychologically he will crack as we go into the last 2 races.
They shouldn't fall into that, should they?
I don't think he will. He's shown no...
Bad-mouthing each other.
He's shown no signs of letting up, but that kind of criticism from somebody as big in the sport as Max Verstappen could have an effect. Also, we don't know the psychological effect of going through all that turmoil last week to finish second and get all those points, only to have the win chalked off because of a technical infringement, which they weren't expecting.
What is a technical infringement?
Well, there were lots of different technical infringements. This was about the car being too low,
so it's not his
the skid wear.
fault,
Well, no, I think it was interesting because the Piastri was also disqualified, part of the same team, for the same infringement. So it was a technical infringement by the team. So it wasn't necessarily the individual. It could have been the way he was driving the car, but it just seemed very, very coincidental that both of them could suffer in that way, because the same thing happened earlier in the season in China when Lewis Hamilton and his teammate George Russell were both disqualified from a race for the same reason. So it's a team thing rather than an individual. If you can put that to the back of his mind and say, that was the team, it's not me personally. I've got a simple job to do, stay ahead of the other two, and then the glory will be his, and it'll be a hell of a thing to celebrate because he wasn't fancied. Nobody was talking about him this time last year.
No, well, fingers crossed.
Yes.
So we'll have a look at Liverpool. I mean, it literally down to a week for Arne Slot.
Yeah, look, it's... Look, let's look at the fixtures first of all. I mean, they've got West Ham, and West Ham have improved recently. So this is tomorrow they're playing them. They've got Sunderland. Yes, Sunderland have been excellent this season, but they should still win that game. And they've got Leeds, who are another fellow promoted side, who again, they should win. So it's one that, OK, you can say it's a week, but, you know, things can look a lot different in a week when the fixtures get slightly easier. Let's have a listen, though, to Arne Slot, because he said none of the conversations he's been having with the board are out of the ordinary.
Yeah, we've had the same conversations as we've had since I'm here. And as I'm not sure if I said it last night, but we fight on and we try to improve. That's what we all try. But the conversations have been the same as they've been for the past 1.5 years.
So that's Arne Slot there, beleaguered, embattled. It was Jamie Carragher, incidentally, who said that he has a week to save his job. I think he was doubling down on some comments that he was caught unawares making earlier in the week. I want to touch on Cole Palmer while we're staying with the football as well. You asked what toe it was. It was a fractured toe, left toe, little toe, and it was the left foot that he scored for England with, or used to score for England in the Euro final in Germany in 2024. But we understand he could be back. I don't think he's going to play tomorrow, but they're just leaving their opponents Arsenal guessing on that one. Much the same as in the cricket, Australia leaving England guessing. But they've had to admit defeat on that.
Sometimes there's nothing more painful than stubbing your toe.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if there's actually that much treatment for it. I think you just have to let it take it for a small bone like that.
They just bind it to the rest of the foot.
In fact, it's often said that people break their small toes without even realising it, and they recover without realising it, obviously, as well. So, but that doesn't stop it being painful, I'm sure.
He stubbed it on a door, apparently.
Yes, at home. There have been some crazy injuries down the years. My favourite one was Dave Besant, 1993. He dropped a salad cream jar on his foot.
Yeah, a glass one.
Yes, that's right. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was playing for Nottingham Forest at the time. No, he wasn't. It was at Chelsea.
And did that break a toe?
Yes, it put him out. And the other one was interesting. I think it was David James, also a goalkeeper. He was playing his PlayStation and he got up. Well, it might have been Jamie Redknapp, I'm not sure. One of the Spice Boys from that era. He was playing with the PlayStation. He had his legs crossed and he stood up and the leg had gone to sleep. So he keeled over and he sustained an injury off the edge of the bed or something. That was his story, anyway.
Yeah.
I do think some of these are strange.
And you mentioned the Ashes. Is Pat Cummins out now?
Yes, he's out, back injury. So I'm trying to source a pink ball for us, by the way.
Yes, but remind us about the pink ball.
Yes.
This is what they play with in Australia if they're doing day-night matches.
Yeah, so day-night matches, it's usually something to do with the heat. It's just a different challenge as well. It's a unique selling point for the individual place, like the Gabba. So that's the place the stadium in Brisbane where they'll be having the second test starting on December the 4th. So the pink ball is what they use to help with visibility when the run of play stretches into the evening. And it's not conducive to all kinds of wickets. So what I mean by that is that there's a seam on it which responds differently to how the bowlers use it, and also the day and night, or the light. There's a material as well which can kind of expand only by like 0.5 millimetre or so, but fine margins make such a difference on these wickets. Also, it influences your selection. For example, Sam Cooke is not involved in this test because he's a swing bowler, and so the ball goes out and back in, but this ball doesn't swing very well. That's why you need a fast bowler who can just lob it down the middle like a pie chucker. Well, that's a bit offensive to their craft, but if it's a swing, it doesn't respond. The ball doesn't respond very well. What are you laughing at, you two?
Just the amazing things that you come out with,
It's like a different language.
It is, isn't it? Well, it is a different language.
It is in cricket. Pie chucker, it's a kind of... It's a derogatory term for someone who can't bowl very well. Oh. So I've just called some of the elite bowlers in the world pie chuckers. Yeah, that's what. So you get cricketers who are good at batting, but they have to bowl as well. Yeah. That may not be their strongest suit, but that's why sometimes you might call them a pie chucker.
So there's swing bowlers and fast bowlers.
Yes, there's seamers
swing.
and
spinners.
Oh, and spin, yeah.
Yeah, but a swing bowler isn't going to benefit much from this ball. It's not going to be conducive to their style of play.
He throws curved balls, does he?
That's what it is.
Yeah, they literally are.
A bit like you sometimes throw me, you two.
Yeah. Or vice versa.
All right, Aidan.
Good to see you both. See you tomorrow.
Get out.
If I can get a pink ball.
Let's try.
Yeah. Is it for their eyes to be able to see the ball?
Broadcast.
Or is it for TV cameras?
Fans as well.
Yeah.
Fans. Red ball would be slightly darker, wouldn't it?
Well, I just wonder how pink it is.
Oh, it's neon pink.
Oh, is
so
it?
if we bring it in and turn the lights off...
Yeah. We can do all sorts of things with it.
Aidan, thanks very much indeed. Now, but our director's just saying, is that it? That's a red ball, Sebastian.
That's traditional.
I mean, honestly, he's clearly not a cricket fan. Honestly, the people
Well, for a director, his eyes are a bit dodgy.
The people we have to work with, you have no idea. No, Seb. Honestly, the man's a nightmare. I feel sorry for his mother. I have to message his mother periodically to reassure her that he's doing all right.
Yeah, OK. Oh,
I do. I send her a little message every now and then.
I'm sure she appreciates it.
She probably does, because she's very worried about him.
Yeah. He's having a good giggle.
Anyway, Seb's mum, you could do with this, actually.
Oh, we could all.
Yeah, how'd you fancy £85,000 in tax-free cash for the new year?
Yeah, apparently, according to the mathematicians around here, that's like having £7,000 extra in your bank each month for the whole of 2026, which is a lot of money. Now, you could be our biggest cash winner thus far, so here are all the details you need.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, up next, doctors are set to vote on 6 months of strikes. Can you believe it? We'll discuss all that and more in the papers with Duncan and Charlotte.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What we're going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
So we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, it's 8:37 now. Going through the newspapers with us this morning, Duncan Barks and Charlotte Griffiths. Right, we're starting with Charlotte. You over ministers are complaining over the state of the gym in Parliament.
I love this story because only 13 of 650 MPs use the gym in the Parliament, which doesn't surprise me because presumably they're all in the bar 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But it is quite funny that they're saying it's too expensive because it's £40 a month. I mean, there are gym memberships in London that are hundreds of pounds a month.
Yeah.
There's one that's £28,000 a year. Anyway, it's closed down. But they're saying, you know, it's not a welcoming place, and because it's all scruffy, they kind of stop themselves going in. They can't get over their sort of resistance to it. And if it was a lovelier place, then they'd be more tempted to go in.
They want us to spend more money on it.
We've got to do it up. We've got to.
Oh, just read the room. Read the room.
Yeah. They're also busy, though. They don't really have time to go to the gym.
I think you get enough exercise walking around the Palace of Westminster. Having done a stint in there, it's a big old complex. And you can certainly do your steps, so maybe focus on that as opposed to complaining about your poor state of the gym.
I mean, this is awful, really.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't actually say who they've complained to, mainly the paper.
Well, they'll be complaining to the people who run the estate. But, I mean, so they're already getting subsidised membership.
Yeah.
Along with their subsidised meals and subsidised bars. And now they want us to subsidise a refurb, basically.
A refurb,
is what they're moaning about.
But it is amazing.
No, is the answer to that.
It's not the right time.
No, it's not the right time. And also what's quite interesting about it as well, if you wanted to be quite belligerent, and I will be, you know, look at the state of army accommodation right now. People who are continually saying army families are living in accommodation that's below standard. And we need to be addressing stuff like that, not because there's a gym that some MPs don't like going to first thing in the morning because there's no incentive for them to go there because it's decrepit. As I said, read the room.
All you need is some weights and a floor. Really?
Yes.
Duncan, in the Mail, doctors are voting on the 6 months strike.
I think this is another case of read the room and the mood of the nation. So the BMA, which is like the doctors' union, will be balloting their members from the 8th of December up until the first week of February to see if there's any real hunger for them to have strike action again. And if it comes back with enough people saying, yes, we're happy to continue with industrial action, potentially from February up to August, we could see more strikes taking place by, well, we used to call them junior doctors, but now we must call them resident doctors. And I just don't think there's public support for this because, as we know, Labour came into government and they wanted to end the doctor strikes, and they gave quite a whopping old pay rise to doctors.
28%, isn't it?
And I have a degree of sympathy with the Health Secretary, West Streeting, because he thought he was clearly doing the right thing, and he thought that they would be on side, like, here's your pay rise, we believe you deserve it, and then what a big surprise, they came back later and said, well, we want more money, and this is what this is about. And I don't think there's public support for it. I think politically it really damages the government because they've pledged to reduce waiting lists. And I don't have the stats to hand, but, you know, you can read about the number of appointments that get cancelled or procedures that are cancelled because of the doctor strikes. So that potentially damages Labour's ambition to reduce waiting lists. And again, the people who ultimately pay doctors' wages, which are taxpayers, I think are going, I think you're taking the mickey.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you've had 28%, now you're saying you want 26.
Yeah, and the government's offered 5.4%, which in anyone's book is not a bad pay rise given the current state of our economy.
Well, it's not, actually. It's more than most people. Meanwhile, and again, what a surprise, Charlotte, this is on the FT this morning. Mansion tax, which is being brought in, I mean, not for a few years, but nevertheless, of course, people are now trying to get round it.
Yes, of course. It's called bunching around the bands. And it's the obvious thing, if you've got a £2 million house, you're selling it for 1.9999. And I hear anecdotally about these stories now of people saying they're going to sell the house for 1.9, but the contents in a separate sale for 300,000.
Yeah.
And so people are getting around it, and it's going to cost the Treasury £355 million. I mean, it is something they should have predicted, and it's going to only continue. And yeah, I mean, it's saying here strong incentives to keep valuations just below the thresholds. Well, obviously
there will be ways round it.
Of course, there'll be ways round it. The whole thing's a bit of a nonsense, if you ask me.
I mean, who can blame them? To be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, amazingly, in this article, it says Reeves had wanted to set the threshold to 1.5 million. Now, it's depressing, but in London, you can really not get that much for 1.5 million. I mean, I'm talking a 2-bedroom flat in not even that nice part of London is 1.5.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, it's a really low tax, and the idea that it's mansions is complete nonsense. You know, there are flats in Ladbroke Grove that are basement flats that are 1.5. They're not mansions. These are just people are just bringing up families in 2-bedroom.
Well, the use of the word mansion is designed to be deliberately emotional, isn't it? Like, oh, well, someone's living in a mansion, they can afford it, let's hammer these people. And it gets us into this whole area where, and Rachel Reeves as Chancellor has been feeding this narrative, which is the wealthy, whatever that means these days, by the way, you know, should pick up the tab for what we need to do.
Viscerally, this Labour Party obviously has an absolute hatred of the wealthy.
Yeah, and there's a ripple effect, because we've seen figures where the wealthy, again, whatever definition you want to use, maybe someone who's got a better lifestyle than you, it could be that simple, but the seriously wealthy, the people who have nice houses because they built businesses up and generate wealth for this country and employ people, which we need desperately because that contributes to growth. There are people, and there was a bit of research that came out a few months ago, you know, millionaires are at a record rate of leaving this country.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like killing the goose that lays the golden egg, isn't it? All right, you two, don't go anywhere, because we're coming back to you in just a moment. But first, we're going to have a look at the top European destinations forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. If you're heading away this weekend, it is actually looking fairly unsettled across parts of Europe and definitely cooler than usual. Across the Canary Islands, a risk of showers throughout the weekend and into next week. Temperatures around 18 or 19 degrees. A little bit cooler than usual across parts of Spain and Italy, just around 12 or 14 degrees. And some wet weather is pushing into parts of Greece. But actually, more eastern areas of Greece should stay relatively dry, so plenty of sunshine to come for Santorini. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
So we're looking through the papers with Duncan and Charlotte at 8:48. Can we have a look at... I was going through the list. Wine racks, Charlotte, are the new status symbol according to the Times.
Yeah, this is trolleys. I mean,
drinks trolleys. Drinks trolleys are back. I think they must have been big in the 70s.
70s.
But now they're back. And John Lewis has seen a huge spike in sales of drinks trolleys because they're seen as a bit of a status symbol. You have them in the corner of your sitting room and you serve people Negronis and it's all very
The only one I want is the ones that look like globes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And you could only get about 2 bottles and a glass in there, but they look wonderful. But these are the old-fashioned drinks trolleys.
Yeah, I think it's because mid-century modern, as we know, is so in, and this idea that you can just have a neat whiskey while you're having a work meeting or a Zoom phone call or a guest over and you just sort of drink neat whiskey in the corner of your sitting room, it's back. And also, wine coolers, actual wine fridges are very popular, but I read in the Telegraph the other day that they are very common. The Telegraph said they were common, which means that they're... I've always really aspired to one and recently got one. But
you got a wine fridge?
A wine cooler,
A cooler?
Wine fridge, wine coolers, they're out.
Yeah.
But what drinks trolleys are in.
I just don't get it.
They're thought of as a bit tacky for some reason, which I think is really unfair.
You see, they're more 90s, which isn't trendy, you see.
Oh, I see.
Well, what's the matter with having your bottle of Sauvignon Blanc in the fridge?
In the fridge?
Well, I don't
That's
know.
too cold, maybe.
Now we all have to drink tepid whiskey from a globe.
Don't fancy that.
No fridge whatsoever.
I'm so confused by... Basically, for you watching and listening at home or in the car, whatever, do what you like.
Yeah.
It's my advice to you this way. If they say it's trendy, ignore them. Do what you like. And if you've got a hostess trolley, plug it in and enjoy it.
Yeah, that is really retro.
Yeah. Wayne Rooney, Duncan.
I have to say, this is my favourite story of the day so far. So Wayne Rooney has been talking to a podcast and he claims that he had the... And if anyone of a nervous disposition listening and watching this morning, Wayne Rooney claims he had the snip because he could no longer deal with watching a gentleman called Mr. Tumble. Now, Mr. Tumble is a star of CBeebies, and anyone who's got children... I mean, I've got a 21-year-old daughter now, but I grew up with Mr. Tumble.
Is he one of the Mr. Men family, Mr. Tumble?
No, but I can understand why he's not part of the
Oh.
Mr. Men. He's like, how would you describe him, Charlotte? He's like a presenter, isn't he, really?
He's like a presenter. He's like a real-life Mr. Blobby. He's all wacky and bouncy. He's a clown, really.
Yeah, and he's played by a guy called Justin Fletcher. And Wayne Rooney's saying, I didn't want any more children because I've got 4 already, and every time I have a child, I have to watch and endure Mr. Tumble on CBeebies, and I simply cannot do it anymore.
I see.
Which I think is a bit of a slight against Mr. Tumble, because certainly from my parenting experience, he came in very useful when you have a child who just needs occupying. It's just like, look, there's Mr. Tumble on the box.
God, does anyone remember Barney the dinosaur?
Yes, he's a bit like the new Barney, I suppose.
Barney, wasn't he? Yeah, I mean, he was just
purple.
a great big purple dinosaur.
Oh. Yes.
He's so stupid, I thought, that would have been a reason not to have any more children.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Except he sort of died off.
So Mr. Tumble is driving up the vasectomy rate.
He could be responsible.
Mr. Tumble, though, is very rich and famous, which is I find hilarious. He's a multi-millionaire.
I think Barney the dinosaur was. And Postman Pat. Where he wrote Postman Pat?
And Paddington. Paddington's in the papers. He's a global star. He's in Vogue magazine.
That's deservedly so. They were very cleverly written.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Well, Mr. Tumble might not be rich for very much longer.
Yes.
Because, Duncan, The Guardian says that it's rich people who need to fix the creaky services.
Yeah. Do you think there's a narrative developing here from our Labour government?
Honestly, but what is surprising with this is you look back over history and you think all these parties will learn, and this seems like a complete repeat. And to be honest, I didn't think they would, but this is like the 1970s all over again.
Yeah, I know, and it does feel like you're punishing people for using their own services. Whether you're wealthy or poor or middle income, you have the right to use the NHS and not kind of be told, well, you need to be paying more because you've made lots of money. I mean, what about reducing, the pressure on it by having so many people using it because of immigration? There's lots of other ways around this. And then, of course, the very wealthy are encouraged to use private healthcare. But if they use private schools, they're taxed on that as well. So it's a really confusing
Rachel Reeves was
picture.
defending her decision to increase taxes, saying that the money she'll get from that she will then use to fix creaking public services.
But there's a thing here, it's this word pay. We always talk about paying more for these services. We never have the conversation that should go alongside it, which is about reforming stuff, OK? I have no issue with giving more money to a public service if there's a genuine need for it. But I also expect, as part of that commitment, that working practices change. So as consumers, because ultimately that's what we are, customers, we get good value for money. And a lot of these public services are operating in the way that they've always done. And I think you do have to look at reforming. If you want more cash, you have to show what you can do for it. But if you can find cost-effective ways of improving your service, like you'd have to do if it was a private service in the private sector, then you must do that.
It's the too big to fail thing with the NHS, isn't it? I mean, that's the problem. How do you reform something that is that big? And I mean, I don't know.
It's one of the biggest employers in the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how do you get those messages out? How do you change a mindset or a culture that's quite ingrained? Difficult.
It's just so bloated and wasteful in parts, and that's just what they need to create, this feeling of fairness, I think, and that's what's missing with the Labour government.
Yeah, which is odd, because that's what they say they're trying to achieve.
I know,
fairness. But
they
what
said
do you mean by fair?
Fair and necessary choices, she keeps saying over and over again.
All right. You two, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Right, now it's time for the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. Now, it will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere, though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, we're it'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds, though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that, though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays, yes to treats, yes to shopping trips, yes to home improvements. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Presenter and businessman Jeff Banks joins us this afternoon. Jeff, so good to see you. Your piece on X was quite sensational. Can you tell people what you said? Because some people, X went down a little while ago. Some people may not have seen it. Can you give us a summary of what you said?
Yes, last August, I got a letter saying that I hadn't got a BBC licence. And I wrote back and I said, I've not watched BBC television for a couple of years now. I don't listen to BBC radio, and therefore I don't want a licence, and I'm not prepared to pay for one. I then got quite a reasonable letter back acknowledging that, to say that it had been noted that my premises no longer required a BBC licence. Then about a month after that, I started getting the first of a threatening letter that I didn't have a licence, and that if I continued without one, I possibly could actually face a fine of £1,000. Then I got another one, and then another one. And then finally last week, I got the fifth, which actually not only was threatening the fine of £1,000, but actually saying I was now on a list that meant an inspector would be likely to actually call on me. And at that point, I felt that that was harassment. So I then wrote back to the BBC and said that you're now, in my opinion, harassing me. Either you stop doing that and desist, or I'll have no alternative to actually put it in the hands of my lawyers, and they can actually fight the battle.
GB News.
Good morning. Could there be travel chaos on the horizon?
Millions of airline passengers could have their flights disrupted or delayed after the computer systems of Airbus A320 is found to be sensitive to intense solar radiation. We'll have the latest on all of that breaking story throughout the morning.
Also today, the Chancellor is on the brink, apparently. She's been accused of misleading us ahead of the budget.
It's been revealed that Rachel Reeves may have lied about the £30 billion black hole to pave the way for her tax raid on workers.
President Trump could hand over Ukraine's occupied territories, including Crimea, to Russia as he draws close to securing a deal with Vladimir Putin.
This weekend, you can shop till you drop. Black Friday spending in the UK is apparently going to reach £6.4 billion this year on the nation's second busiest shopping day of the year.
A week to save his job. That's the damning verdict on the future of beleaguered Liverpool boss Arne Slot by Reds legend Jamie Carragher. And we'll find out why Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola is angry with his players, and Australia captain Pat Cummins is ruled out of the second test in Brisbane.
Good morning. It's a wet day to come for many southern central areas. We do have a warning in force, much drier further north, but you can find out all the details with me a little later on.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. Right, well, let's get on with the politics, the domestic politics, because the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has actually been accused of lying, of misleading the public over the state of the country's finances as she plotted her £30 billion tax raid. Allegedly, it became about saving herself and the Prime Minister.
Well, the Office for Budget Responsibility has revealed that a series of statements in recent weeks from Miss Reeves and her officials falsely exaggerated the fiscal shortfall she faced, the black hole, preparing the ground for her to raise taxes and welfare spending.
Well, joining us now in the studio, political commentator Andy Preston.
Hi.
Do you think she actually might have deliberately misled?
I think she did, and it's not just me. There are a lot of really serious heavyweight journalists who are very careful with their words, saying that she categorically misled people. She'd had been in receipt of a letter from the OBR making it clear that there was room. She didn't need to raise taxes, but she did, and she said it was to cover a productivity problem that caused a black hole, mentioned the Tories again. So it looks like, clearly, she wanted to save her own skin, save Keir Starmer's skin, appease her backbenchers. This seems to be a budget about saving her job rather than about looking after children or looking after Britain.
But could she have done what she's done without raising taxes, including the additional welfare spending?
No, she couldn't. And that's the gist.
So this is all about more money for welfare?
The only thing we can draw from this is that she wanted to appease her backbenchers, and the way to do that was splurge money on welfare, and the way to get that money was to raise taxes from everybody else. So listen, Rachel Reeves was already the most unpopular Chancellor ever in the history of recording that data, and Keir Starmer, her boss, is the most unpopular Prime Minister ever in the history of gathering data. The idea now that she can't be trusted to honestly report national financial statements is a big blow, and I think gets them both into trouble, and I can't see how she survives.
Well, one has to be, I suppose, look at her wording very carefully. See, I seem to remember when she stood up in Parliament, she did concede, she did acknowledge that part of last year's black hole had been paid. And she wasn't very clear on the amount. And then she talked about another black hole. So she wasn't lying to say that the first black hole hadn't been paid off.
I think that what everybody who's looked at this in absolute detail is saying is that she had received a letter explaining clearly that there was currently no black hole. The productivity issue which had been identified was covered due to other factors.
But she would say she wants to raise taxes to pay off the black hole she sees looming.
Well, what she said was there was a productivity issue from the Tories that originated in the Tories era that she needed to fix, and that's the gist of it. That's the dishonesty. That's at the core of this dishonesty. So,
is this long-term politicking then, in the sense that she's right? We talk about raising £26 billion in additional taxes. She hasn't yet. The vast majority of these taxes come into play in sort of 2028.
Absolutely.
So is she turning around to say, well, actually, by the start of 2028, I'll just go, we've done so well, I cannot now implement these new taxes?
She's gambling. She's praying that somehow growth will kick in. This wasn't a budget for growth. This was a short-term, get me out of an extreme problem, get me out of it now, and let's hope that it's OK tomorrow. It's typical someone who's in debt, who's got a gambling issue. They're hoping that the winner comes in tomorrow or next week. This government is moving from one crisis to another, and they're praying that something turns up, and they're praying that growth turns up. It seems unlikely, but nobody knows.
But the policies don't seem to be stimulating growth.
They are not planning for the future. This wasn't a budget for Britain. This was a budget to save her job and appease the backbenchers who are now turning on her. So, Stephen, I think the backbenchers cheered on Budget Day, on Wednesday. This weekend, as they're reading the press, as they're meeting their constituents who are working and paying more tax, they're going to get some awful feedback. They're going to get some dreadful feedback, and that's going to come back to Rachel Reeves. She can't survive, and of course, in the private sector, if you lied to your boss about the finances, you'd be out.
Yeah.
No questions.
Do you think that they're truly cynical enough to be thinking, all right, and if you read the polls, we might not be the next government anyway, so we'll just land the next government with a huge black hole?
I don't think they're thinking 3 or 4 years down the line, Anne. All they're thinking about is how do we not get fired in the next 6 weeks.
See what, and again, it's speculation, so you've got to be careful. You don't want to be accused of anything, do you? But when you look at all this, when you look at Rachel Reeves teetering on the edge, and if she went, the Prime Minister would have to go, basically, you can't help but look at this and say, are we going to be having a general election sooner than we thought?
You know what? General election, 9 months ago, someone said, will there be an early general election? You say, well, it's always possible, but it's a 1 or 2%. And then a month or two ago, you think, well, maybe it's 3 or 4%. And now, is it 10 or 20% probability? So anything could happen now. We're entering a period of political chaos where the government is so deeply unpopular. The Chancellor has apparently, according to people, lied to the public and to Parliament. This is the beginning of an extreme crisis, and anything could happen.
But the Tories in the last government chopped and changed their leaders, and it didn't trigger a general election.
No, I think getting rid of a leader doesn't trigger a general election, but I think the crisis is so large that we've never had a government that's been so unpopular, or a Chancellor, or a Prime Minister. I think this is uncharted territory. I think anything could happen over the next 12 months, literally anything.
And it's problematic, though, isn't it? Because, I mean, if you did get a new leader, or, you know, a new front bench, in effect, the chances are it's going to be much more to the left. So what people are unhappy with now, you'd likely to get more of. If there was a general election and another party won, are either the Conservatives or Reform UK in a position to take over government at the moment? It's
not a situation that anybody would relish. You want to take over government when things are in rude health and there's money to spend on great things. So it's a really... it's potentially a poison chalice for whoever would win a general election. I think it's unlikely in the short term, but I do think we're entering a crisis of government, and anything could happen now. So I am sure that Nigel Farage, Kemi Badenoch, Zach Polanski are starting to work on plans if an election were to be called. Not next week, but...
What did you think of Kemi Badenoch's performance?
I thought that was Kemi Badenoch at her absolute best. That's what she was hired to do.
We haven't seen that before, really.
We haven't seen it. She was hired to be that terrier, that demon, put a flea in Starmer's ear, week in, week out. And she's kind of sometimes done it, usually not. And she was on fire, and the public are listening, and the Tories will start rising in the polls.
I saw someone online, actually, criticising her as an attack dog. But in a way, you sort of need an attack dog in opposition, don't you?
You really do. And actually, I was starting to feel... She was so good, and I felt Rachel Reeves was desperately humiliated. I started to feel sorry for Rachel Reeves. But now I'm seeing the dishonesty. Now I'm seeing that she apparently lied about the national finances. It's very hard to feel sorry for someone who does that.
It is. I mean, I felt sorry for her when her uncle started to badmouth her in one of the newspapers. I thought, that's not very nice. No. But just as I was feeling sorry for her again, yes, then we learned about this. So it's a hell of a job, isn't it?
And can I just say, this is not the first time her honesty has been called into question. We've had a bunch of things from her CV, whether she was a chess champion, Bank of England governor, the clothes from Lord Ali, the concert tickets, the house not having the licence to rent it out. Yeah. And then this. There is an honesty question, at least, isn't there? All right. A monstrous question.
Andy, good to see you this morning. Thank
Great
you very much indeed.
My goodness. Right, it's 10 minutes past 9. Just a reminder, friends of GB News can vote in today's You Decide poll by scanning the QR code that you can see, or you go to the GB News website and it'll be there. We're asking, can we trust any party to tell the whole truth about the public finances? The results are now coming in. 8% of you so far have said yes, 92% no.
Well, that's not surprising the way things are at the moment, is it? Right, let's look at finances in another way, should we? Or spending them. Black Friday. Well, it's Black Friday weekend, we're calling it now. It's been going on for weeks, actually, on some websites. But shoppers are set to spend, well, We don't really quite know, but, I mean, many billions of pounds this weekend. But, of course, there is a danger of scams as well in all of this.
Yeah, researchers identified the weekend of sales as a prime time for scams, with criminals seeking to exploit seasonal pressure, fast browsing and heavy online traffic.
All right, let's talk to our reporter, Isabel Fakulak, who joins us now. Hi, Isabel. I mean, this is a hugely busy weekend for shoppers. Are they making the most of it where you are?
Well, yeah, it's been a very busy Black Friday yesterday here in Bristol. I'm outside Cabot Circus, which is a very popular shopping centre in the area. And it was clear yesterday that sales were going to be up this Black Friday. According to PwC UK, it was expected that sales hit 6.4 billion yesterday. That's 1.5% higher than last year, which is slightly unexpected, as we thought the interest was a bit less, but nonetheless sales rose instead. And we thought that it would look a bit more like the 2023 Black Friday we had, where sales were down. That was due to the cost of living crisis, of course, a crisis that we are in now still. So maybe surprising that sales actually rose. However, those sales rose. Footfall on the street was actually down by minus 1.5% from last year. So it's likely that a lot of those sales were had online. I've spoke to a few shoppers here this morning who said that they did find those Black Friday bargains, but in fact that those were online, not in store. And we're not seeing the same notorious Black Friday queues outside of shops and brands on the high street, and that's probably down to the increase in online shopping. But also another thing is that it's no longer necessarily just a Black Friday for a lot of these businesses, but sales actually extend throughout days and even weeks, and maybe even the month coming up to Black Friday. Amazon started its Black Friday sales 2 weeks ago, and a lot of the brands in the high street behind me now were starting putting out sale signs from as early as last weekend. So that's spreading out the demand across several days and weeks, rather than leaving that demand to be on that one day and causing those queues outside of shopping centres as we used to see on Black Friday. So a couple of factors that are adding to the lower footfall on the street. But as I said, overall it was a high amount of sales yesterday. A lot of sales in fashion, of course, in technology. But that brings us ahead to Cyber Monday, where we can expect again another few £billion possibly on those technology sales. And this isn't actually the busiest shopping day of the year. This first Saturday before Christmas, that will see even more shoppers, we assume. So a big day for shoppers yesterday, but more to come this year.
Lovely. Isabel, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, I don't know where people are getting the money from for it, really.
No, but it's if you think you've got to spend it anyway on Christmas.
Yes.
And you're going to get something a bit cheaper.
Yeah, because
I mean, it's
when sales used to come after Christmas, people always used to moan about they've just spent a fortune Christmas shopping, and then suddenly everything's cheaper.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's the right way around if you're going to spend the money.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Right, let's tell you about Airbus. We've been talking about it all morning this morning. It's the aerospace giant, of course. They've warned flights will be disrupted after it requested immediate modifications on about 6,000 of its planes. Now, they've been grounded by all of this. That's half the total fleet.
Yeah, they shouldn't be grounded for long, though,
No.
because it's basically about updating the computer systems on board. It all happened after the discovery that intense radiation from the sun could corrupt the data on board. And it happened, apparently, to an aircraft en route from Mexico to the United States, where they experienced a sudden drop in altitude, which sounds horrific. That was on October the 30th.
It's like falling out of the sky,
Yes,
isn't it?
it must have felt like that at the time.
Must have
Apparently,
done.
a lot of people weren't wearing seatbelts because they were mid-flight. And, you know, when the plane drops suddenly, you get projected towards the ceiling.
You should always keep your seatbelt on.
Yeah, I suppose you should, really.
You really should, yeah. Turbulence and all that stuff. I mean, that's more serious than turbulence. Anyway, look, enough from us. We need to hear from an expert. And earlier we talked to the expert, Simon Calder.
So for most of the 6,000 or so aircraft, it is just a software update. Some of them, there is talk that there will need to be actually a complete new piece of equipment. For those aircraft, that is really tricky. Where do you get the parts? How do you get it installed? Does the aircraft need to remain on the ground all that time? Now, the problem is exacerbated in the United States because it's Thanksgiving weekend. We didn't see too much disruption last night, fairly quiet day, but Sunday is the big day tomorrow when all the Americans who've been with family and friends for Thanksgiving fly home, and if they don't have aircraft, that's going to be very messy. Elsewhere, Colombia, very hard hit. Avianca, the national airline based in Bogota, said 70% of our fleet's affected. We are not taking any new bookings until the 8th of December because we want to kind of protect the operation, protect our passengers. They've been cancelling flights, mostly domestic ones, and as a result of that, there's a fair amount of disruption. But British Airways, meanwhile, they've got lots of Airbus A320s. They told me that just 3 of them required attention, and they were all being done overnight with no disruption to flights.
Tell you what, Simon, though, this incident happened on October the 30th. That means that for a month we've been flying in Airbuses completely unaware that there was a potential problem.
Yes, absolutely. And there will be people who are thinking, oh, that doesn't sound very safe. But please be rest assured, I've been flying on lots of Airbus A320s since then. The investigators into this incident in Florida will have concluded that this was an extremely rare event. It hasn't been a problem with Airbus aircraft. If I can put that into contrast with the Boeing 737 MAX. You'll recall that before the COVID pandemic, there was a tragic loss of a Lion Air 737 MAX, and then soon afterwards, an Ethiopian Airlines jet in similar circumstances. As soon as it became apparent that there was a problem with that aircraft, it was grounded worldwide within days. And so the aviation industry, based entirely on investigating previous incidents, I think they quite correctly didn't immediately ground all A320s around the world while they investigated. That would have led to absolute chaos. Instead, they took a proportionate approach.
Tell you what, though, I mean, if I were flying in an Airbus today, I'd want the airline to confirm that it's been updated, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm actually flying in one tomorrow, and I'm because the rules are absolutely clear. Don't fly this aircraft again until you've done the work. It will be done. I happen to be flying on Air India. They've said that they've already, pretty impressively, in the past 15 hours or so, tackled 40% of their fleet. And the Indian government, meanwhile, has said they don't want any aircraft in their airspace for which the modification hasn't been made. So, the engineers are getting through this. For European airlines, it came at a pretty difficult time. Everybody was winding down for the weekend, and then suddenly Airbus comes out with this requirement, and it's all hands on deck.
Well, if you're off somewhere wonderful the weekend or in the next few days, I do hope you get away all right if you're going on an Airbus.
Yeah, just prepare for a delay.
And check with the airline.
Check with the airline. Yeah. Mind you, if you're thinking, well, I can't do it this year, I can't afford it, next year might be your year, because we're giving away £85,000 in tax-free cash. It's our biggest cash prize, and you'd get it at the end of January, I think, or thereabouts. It's an awful lot of money. It could all be yours without Rachel Reeves getting hands on any of it.
That's true. She won't be allowed to.
No, here's how you enter.
It's the greatest cash prize of the Great British Giveaway so far. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, making 2026 your greatest year to date. That could get you that brand new car, extend and improve your home, take you away on that bucket list holiday, or just give you some peace of mind over the coming months. For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. So the old competition's ended. That ended yesterday.
Yeah, ended yesterday.
Yeah, we haven't found out who's won yet.
No, we don't find out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but they are going to get it before Christmas.
Yes.
Because it was the Christmas
or
one.
most
This
of
is
it.
a New Year one, if you like.
Yeah, this is a New Year one.
Oh.
I think this one ends on the 30th of January, I think I heard. The gentlemen say.
Good luck.
Oh, what a lot of money.
Oh, wouldn't it make a difference, eh? Tax-free.
Oh, anyway, enough. Because we're dreaming here and we can't even enter the blooming thing.
No, I know, isn't it? It's so frustrating because you think you'd like to be in with a chance at least, and you can't.
Yes, no, sadly not.
And all my sons say, could we enter? And no, you're related. I'm sorry, it just wouldn't. They wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't pay out.
No.
They wouldn't pay, but you can enter.
Can.
So there
Have
you
a go.
That's what matters. All right, let's have a look at the weather for you today with Annie.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. Now, it will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into this evening, and it will likely persist across northeastern areas around this area of low pressure throughout Saturday night. Elsewhere, though, we get a ridge of high pressure moving in for Sunday, so that means it will be a clearer night for most areas, but it's going to be a colder night. As I said, a touch of frost across parts of Scotland, also some areas of northern England, Wales as well, seeing a touch of frost. Elsewhere, we'll be in the low single figures to start the day on Sunday. Light winds, though, and plenty of sunshine mean it will probably be a pretty nice day. Definitely a nicer day on Sunday compared to today for most of us. However, there is another weather front on the way through the afternoon, so cloud will thicken from the west, turning sunshine hazier at first, but then the rain arrives into the afternoon. Ahead of that, though, plenty of sunshine to get out and about in, and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees for many of us. It turns milder next week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, it's 9:24 already. Still to come, we'll have all the sports updates for you next with Aidan McGee. That's next.
Bowl. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Aidan's here with the sport. Should we talk about Man City?
Why not? Because we've not mentioned them this morning.
No.
The focus has been on Chelsea and Cole Palmer, and of course Liverpool's fall from grace, having won the league last season and spent £450 million to be currently in 12th position. So let's look at Manchester City, because I thought this went under the radar a little bit. We'll hear from Pep Guardiola in a moment, but he said that, and this is after they lost against Bayer Leverkusen at home, he questioned his players' professionalism. Now I've heard managers do that before. I've never heard a manager say that his players aren't trying. Now, they made 10 changes in midweek. Now, OK, it's not so he's not upsetting the first-team players by saying this. If he did, he's got a bigger issue on his hands. What's frustrating is that you make these changes, it's a Champions League game, so you're giving the second-string players a chance to prove what they can do. They lost at home to Bayer Leverkusen by 2-0. And, you know, it means... What managers often say is that I get the players who aren't in the team come knocking on my door and asking, why am I not in the first team? This player hasn't done that and done that. They can't say that now when they've been given their chance and they lose. They're playing Leeds United today, and we'll just get a flavour of his mood right now.
And you seem to suggest that some of them, if not all of them, were kind of lacking in confidence. How do you go about
No, it's not about the confidence. They have to have it. It's a profession. They have to do it. I don't ask actions to brilliant actions. To be the simple thing and say, okay, I have the ball, I'm going to attack to score the goals, to make a movement defensively. When I go there, I will be aggressive enough, you know, to win the duels and be present of that. And none of that we were.
Oh, he's not impressed, is he?
How would you feel if you're one of his players?
He's a miserable old what's-it, isn't he?
Well...
I wouldn't be terribly enthused to play well for him, would it?
This is the thing now.
Is that what's happening, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're not. Look, they're in contention, but they lost at Newcastle last week. We saw his behaviour, didn't we? He went up to a cameraman and picked a fight with a cameraman. He was shirty with some of the opposing players. What he tends to do is he goes and picks rows with opposition players sometimes. And sometimes it's with good intentions. There was an occasion about 5-6 years ago where he was up against Nathan Redmond of Southampton. Now, Nathan Redmond was somebody who you always felt he could explode and be excellent at any time, but he just lacked a bit of confidence or maybe a bit of ambition. And Pep Guardiola went up to him, put his arm around him and said, look, you know, and he really was remonstrating with him almost, saying, look, you can do better than this. This is an opposing player. You need to do this. You need to take on my players. You need to cut inside a bit more. You need to have more confidence. This is an opposing player.
That's a really weird thing to do.
It is, but maybe it just frustrates him when he sees footballers not playing to their maximum potential, even if they're not on his team. Now, that was a different thing to what we're experiencing now. They are in a rough period at the moment. As I say, they lost against Newcastle. They're in danger of slipping behind Arsenal and Chelsea even more, but they do have a game against Leeds today at 3 o'clock at the Etihad, which I expect them to win.
Yeah. Right, just have a look at Lando Norris.
Yes, third in qualifying for the sprint, which is today. Do you think he's losing his nerve, maybe, possibly?
Well, yeah. I mean, after last weekend, which was
a huge blow. It was, because you know you don't mind losing something because of your you do mind losing something, losing out because of your driving capability, but losing out on a technical infringement is a real blow, and it doesn't really happen in other sports. You know, you don't get technical infringements in football. You don't get technical infringements in tennis, do you? Even in cricket, to a lesser degree, the technical side of it comes into it a little bit. But yeah, it was to do with the skid pads.
Yeah.
So it means that when you go down, you go around a bend on the track, there is a 9mm restriction. So I mean, like, when you're driving the car, I mean, how do you know you're going to breach that 9mm? It seems extraordinary to me.
But it's the team's fault then, basically.
It was the team's fault, yeah, it was, because I mean, both he and Piastri, who's also vying for the title, he finished top of the sprint qualifying today, actually. So just to remind you of the schedule, I've got it here. You've got the 2 p.m. is the sprint race today. So there are points available for that. We had qualifying for that yesterday. We've got qualifying tonight at 6 o'clock for the main race tomorrow. The main race tomorrow starts, this is in Qatar, of course, 4 p.m. on Sunday. They're hoping that the weather will be slightly better than it was in Vegas last week. But this is where, this is the business end of the season, if you like. This is where we're coming down to the crunch. 2 races left. I think it would be great if he was able to win it, because, as I said to you before, nobody was talking about him this time last year. We were concentrating on the British hope, which was Lewis Hamilton. And this guy, I wouldn't say came from nowhere. He was in the race. He was kind of in the mix last year, but nobody ever thought he was going to go on and win it. But I think at the age of 26, it'd be great to see an heir apparent to not just Lewis Hamilton's crown, but Max Verstappen. He's the one he's up against, and he's the one who's on the last 4.
Yeah, I'd really like to see him excel at this. I really would. Or accelerate.
Accelerate? Absolutely, why not?
Sporting birthday?
Go on.
Today, happy birthday to Ryan Giggs.
I'm going to go for... So he was 17 in 1991. So what's my arithmetic like? So...
He's either a year older or a year younger than me. I'm going to go 53.
I'm going to go 52.
Yeah, you're right. 52.
Wow.
52.
It's arithmetic in my head.
Well, it's actually, that is a year older. That is actually a year older than me, so I don't know why I said 53.
Yeah. Anyway, happy
unless you're lying
birthday.
about your age, of course, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Which I've done on dating apps before. Sorry, I shouldn't tell you.
OK.
I'm joking.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers.
Yes.
He's so not joking. Mind you, talking of dating, and really, if you were going to go out on a date with Aidan, it'd have to be a blind date, let's be honest. And it is 40 years since Blind Date first hit our screens.
Whoa.
We're going to be joined by the show's most successful love story in a moment.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breast cancer is the most common cancer in the UK, and over a lifetime, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer. It's mostly affecting women over 50. As you mentioned before, it does affect a small proportion of men, less than 1%, but still there is a potential risk. The good news is, if caught early, survival is excellent due to improved treatments and new drugs. So 99% of women and men survive for more than 5 years if caught early. And overall, the breast cancer survival rate is about 85%, which is fantastic. It's important to know that you have to check. Women have to learn to check their breasts. So if you notice anything different, dimpling, change in shape, a lump, go and get it checked out. Even though survival rates are much improved, we do have less survival here compared to other countries. So, for example, in America, 90% of women will survive over 10 years if they're with breast cancer. So it is important to get checked out just as soon as you notice any changes whatsoever.
Why is there that difference, Lucy, between, say, us and America, for example?
Well, the UK lags behind generally in cancer survival, 10 to 25 years, they estimate, over a range of cancers. That includes prostate, ovarian, lung, breast, and bowel cancer. And there could be a number of reasons, but I think part of the problem, the NHS is great when you get to the front of the queue, isn't it? But it's actually getting there.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, TV dating shows have come on over the years. Naked Attraction.
Yes,
is one of the
a bit more raunchy than they used to be.
Honestly,
in Scylla's day.
Not like the good old days. Blind Date first hit our screens 40 years ago, and it was pretty trailblazing.
Yeah, it was. This morning, we're excited to hear from the show's most successful love story, because there were several moments where we heard that people who'd met on Blind Date had got married, and I think at least one proposed on the TV. But anyway, these two are really strong love story because they're still together all those years later. They are Sue and Alex Tatum.
Yes, the very first Blind Date couple to tie the knot. Good morning, you two.
Good morning.
I mean, how long have you been married now?
34 years.
Wow. Did you, when you were doing the show, did you think it would last this long?
Well, hoped. I mean, going to say when you get married, it's forever. Let's be honest. But we've had such a lovely 34 years. Amazing, and we're still very much in love.
Indeed.
Was it a set-up in any way at all? Did you already know each other before Blind Date?
We'd never met before, and we probably would never have met if it wasn't for Blind Date and Cilla Black.
Oh, bless her. It's nice that you remember her as well. So, either of you, what gave you the courage to go on Blind Date in the first place?
Well, my friends initially wrote up on my behalf. Without my knowledge, actually, I got a lovely letter from London Weekend Television, as it was in those days, and it suggested I might apply myself. Luckily, I saw the funny side of it and said to my friends, "What have you done?" They clearly thought I needed a boyfriend straight away. We filled in an application form together, had a lot of laughs over it, and a couple of interviews later, and I was on the show.
How about you, Alex?
Well, I tell you what, it was totally no setup at all. In fact, actually, because we were wandering around the television studios in groups of people that were picking and people that were being picked, they said, if you ever get shoved into a cupboard, go into the cupboard because it means the others are on the way. So they were very keen to make sure that we never saw each other. So that setup was never happened. And actually, that very first moment we laid eyes on each other was when that screen went back. Very much a sliding doors moment.
And some people don't think it's possible, but I've come across it, not myself, but a friend of mine. Was it love at first sight?
I would say not at first sight. I mean, we're too realistic for that. But we got on immensely well at the start. We had shared values quite quickly.
I think so.
We both went on with the attitude that we're going to make the most of this opportunity that we had, and had a good time. And
well, if you see on the show, very much when the screen went back, clearly, I just say that she's lovely. And by the way, She still is.
Oh, you old
yeah.
charmer, Alex.
There you are.
Who did the picking?
Well, she certainly wouldn't have picked me, so I did the picking. And there we are. It's I picked Sue number 2 from the West Midlands. Here she is. And I'm sorry to Kate and Lynn, who didn't get picked, but there we are. Who knows what might have happened?
Oh, well, don't say that, Alex. Don't be saying that. But what was it about Sue then that you liked in her answers?
Do you know, it's a really difficult question because I really can't remember even what she said half the time. But what was critical was Graham's quick reminder. And that was the moment when very much that we were reminded of what they might have said, and something clearly sparked in that. But effectively, it was a bit eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So it really was a luck of the draw, I think.
Yeah, but you're meeting on a television programme. I mean, one of you could have lived as far north as, you know, wherever, and the other in the south. Were you anywhere near each other geographically?
No.
Not at all. And as you say, I was in the north and Alex was in the south.
Oh, that's how it happened.
Yeah, 136 miles away from each other.
So you had to work hard at the romance after the programme.
It was a weekend relationship for about 3 years, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And then, but when you did get married, you had the cameras there, didn't you?
We did.
The amazing. It came first in the TV ratings in 1991. Our wedding. There was 17 million people, so no pressure on the speeches.
No. And can I just ask, what the heck are you doing in the car?
We're off to see our son in Edinburgh.
Yes.
Wow.
So we've got a longer way to go. We set up so early this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's so nice that you just, after a sort of weird showbiz beginning, that you are an ordinary, happily married couple with kids and everything's good. How lovely.
It is so good.
That's lovely.
It is so good.
When's your wedding anniversary?
It was on the 19th of October. We were married for 34 years on the 19th of October. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Most men don't remember, but that was really good.
Wonderful. And it's wonderful to have Blind Date as the 40th anniversary. I think it's tomorrow. Was the first episode of Blind Date. Was 40 years ago tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot to celebrate. Have a really safe journey all the way up to Edinburgh, won't you? Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, well
Thank you
done,
so
you
much.
two.
Lovely to speak to you both.
It's lovely to meet you. It really is.
Thank you. Thanks very much indeed. Oh, well, I think that's
that was
quite
rather nice. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I mean, what a nice, just a nice ordinary couple.
But still together after a long time.
Yeah, I just think that's...
Well done.
Nice. I like a bit of romance.
Yeah. Well, you like a good story, don't you? You like a happy story.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
And we need one at the minute. Look, we're going to go through the papers for you in just a moment. We're getting them back for a 4th time out. Lucky them. Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Look, they're poised and ready to go. First, though, if you fancy a bit of holiday sun, here's a European forecast.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, if you're heading away this weekend, it is actually looking fairly unsettled across parts of Europe and definitely cooler than usual. Across the Canary Islands, a risk of showers throughout the weekend and into next week. Temperatures around 18 or 19 degrees. A little bit cooler than usual across parts of Spain and Italy, just around 12 or 14 degrees. And some wet weather is pushing into parts of Greece. But actually, more eastern areas of Greece should stay relatively dry, so plenty of sunshine to come for Santorini. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Right, let's go through the papers. Once again for you this morning, it's a special treat. Duncan Barks and Charlotte Griffiths have agreed to stay on for a little bit longer for no extra money. Should we start with...
We'll take biscuits.
You'll take biscuits. Charlotte, let's start with the Mail, should we? What are they saying about mirrors?
Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, teenagers are obsessed with looking at themselves, but very surprisingly, a school in Dorset has actually removed all its mirrors, especially from the bathrooms, to stop kids staring at themselves. But amazingly, the mothers have complained, saying, oh, they might need to look for health reasons at the mirror. They might need to move their earrings from their ears or adjust their contact lenses.
Yeah, I was just trying to think if we had mirrors in school, Luz. Yes, we did.
Yeah, we definitely did. I mean, but I have to say, we didn't spend hours looking into them. I wonder whether it's smartphone culture, influencer culture, means that people are more vain.
It's exactly that, you know. So here comes the grumpy old man alert. You're looking in the mirror because you want to make sure the next time you take a picture to put on your Insta feed saying I'm walking back from school, that you look as perfect as you want people to perceive you to be. That's got to be driving this. Because we had mirrors when I was a kid at school, but we didn't have social media, we didn't have smartphones.
Exactly.
Same.
Gosh, I don't remember staring in the mirrors at school. I went to an all-girls school and we used to not wear makeup because we didn't have to impress any boys.
That's true.
So we just got on with our day. It was much less distracting.
It's an interesting one, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Duncan, tell us about the shrunken burger.
Oh, this is all about the bat.
Is this shrinkflation of some sort?
No, well, I don't think you can hang this one on Rachel Reeves. However, I suppose you could. We could join the dots. So this is McDonald's.
I didn't mean that. That was a Kemi Badenoch swipe.
It was.
Shouldn't have said it.
Nasty look.
McDonald's have this burger called the Big Tasty.
All right.
And it comes around every few times a year. And the Big Tasty has got smaller because normally it's in a bigger bap, but now they're serving it in a quarter-pounder bun, which is smaller, and McDonald's fans are outraged. There's a great quote here from a chap called Kevin Cox, who lives in Aylesbury, who says, we are being conned. It's a disappointment almost as big as the budget. So there's the budget.
They've reduced the price, haven't they?
They've reduced the price, but people are saying, in some cases, it's not the same. Now it's smaller, I have to buy two. And if you buy two, it comes in at £9.49 if you buy a two-patty, big, tasty meal.
So it's not shrinkflation, because actually people are buying, they're cheaper, but then people are buying too.
And to be fair to McDonald's, they told the Sun newspaper, our iconic Big Tasty now comes in 2 sizes, perfect for every appetite. We never compromise on the quality of our ingredients.
Just the size of your buns.
It's all about, the baps are shrinking.
Well, I think a bun's the nicest part.
Oh,
I love them.
No, I don't.
No, they're always dry at fast food joints.
Bread. Well, yeah, it's bread. I've got a thing about bread. Can we have a look? I mean, actually, for both of you, I mean, Charlotte, because obviously you know your politics very, very well. What do you make of your party, which has got its inaugural conference today, where they need to decide basically what to call themselves? Your party, our party, Popular Alliance, or For the Many?
For the Many.
I can't believe they haven't decided on a name in the last 6 months, and people have now got used to it being Your Party. Even though we were told that was a temporary name, I now think of it as Your Party, so they'd be completely mad to change it.
Yeah.
They can't even decide who the leader's going to be, because they're trying to decide whether it will be, several leaders or just one leader. It honestly, it sounds completely disorganised, actually, to me. Sultana's kept some of the money back as well, in case she wants to break away and make another party. She's denying this.
Money.
Yeah, but she's saying if I'm mistreated, well, the theory is she's saying if I'm mistreated, I'm going to walk off with some of the money, but she's denying that.
It's chaotic, and the rift between Sultana and Corbyn is vast. So they're in Liverpool. They start in about 10 minutes' time their conference, their first ever conference. Last night, the eve of the conference, you would expect the two names, if you like, of what we currently know them as Your Party, to be doing something together. But instead they had separate events, literally half a mile apart. So you had her doing her little rally and Corbyn doing his event. And it's just like, in what world do you think this works?
And apparently most of the conference day today is going to be spent sort of doing the paperwork.
You're doing deciding who's
all the small print.
Deciding who the leader's going to be. They should just call it 2 parties. Given
doesn't
how
bode well, does it?
No, it doesn't.
If you're looking to get away from Labour, which is chaotic, you're not going to go to something like this, are you? Just more mess and confusion. People need clarity and simplicity at the moment.
And I think the chaos is bleeding through into the polls, because in July, when it was announced, the voting intention was, 18% of people said, I could vote for this. Now that's dropped to 12%, because I think people have looked at this chaos and just thought, this is not serious. What's going on here?
Meanwhile, in the Mail, Boris Johnson always writes the Saturday column, but today he's having a real old say in favour of Kemi. He said she actually showed true grit, and this is a party worth rebuilding now under her leadership.
He said she gave a glimpse of a happier future, and that her sort of forthright attitude shows that actually the Conservatives can rebuild themselves and be a credible party again.
Don't underestimate how effective her conference speech was, because I was in Manchester when that was taking place, and there was this narrative developing with MPs and also a number of journalists just going, if she doesn't deliver here, she's toast. And she pulled it out the bag, right? It was a great conference speech. And then what we saw on Wednesday, her response to the budget was just golden.
It's just whether it's going to punch through and get her somewhere in the polls.
And the challenge is exactly that. People, people have to see who she is and to be blunt, know who she is, because I still think there's a big chunk of people who are like, don't quite know who Kemi is yet. No, I think if you're not that interested in politics like you and I are, it's like, who is she?
You're not going to know. Yeah. All right, you two, thank you very much indeed. It's been great to see you this morning. We appreciate it.
Yeah, do stay tuned, though, because as we say goodbye, we also say hello to Saturday Morning Live with Olivia Utley and Cameron Walker, who are there. What have you got coming up on the programme?
Good morning to you both. Coming up, Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, has been accused of misleading the public with her £30 billion black hole to justify tax rises. We'll be discussing that.
We'll also be talking about pubs. What sort of situation are pubs going to find themselves in after this budget? 209 pubs closed in the first half of 2025. And now it looks like business rates are going up, not down.
And to finish off the show, of course, we'll be going to a live dog walk. But there's a twist, of course. We're very close to Christmas. They'll be wearing Christmas jumpers. Are you going to be taking your dog wearing a Christmas jumper? All that and much more after your weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. It's a bright start across northern areas, but a very different day to come across the south with a rain warning in force and a lot of cloud around as well. The rain warning is in force throughout the whole day today for much of Wales and southern and central areas of England. Now, it will push eastwards as the day goes on, so some brighter spells developing across western areas of Wales and parts of southern England, as well as some bright skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Here, though, we do have a brisk northerly wind that will introduce colder air, so a much fresher feel for many of us, particularly across northern-facing coasts. And as that colder air bumps into the rain across northern areas of England, we could see a dusting of snow over the highest ground of parts of northern England, perhaps southern Scotland as well. And this northerly wind will bring in a few snow showers across the Highlands, as well as the Grampians as well, just above the highest ground. It is going to be a chilly evening, though, under any clearer skies for much of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, a touch of frost by tomorrow morning. Still quite damp, though, for much of Wales and northern England, potentially across the southeast as well. This rain could linger into the sea.